Hello. How's it going, everyone? What's up? Is it time to sip? It's time to sip. Ah, it's good. You can't hear me. You should be able to hear me now. I think I fixed it. Hey now, as Sitch would say. I'm feeling 100% better. No more sickness. It's all done. I'm back in the saddle. I can make videos again. I can make streams again. I was on the Archcast last night. It was me and Arch and Kibbs and V and Sargon. Just like the old days, all together again. It was a good time. Actually, Lilith was supposed to join us, but she got called into work. R.I.P. In fact, I'll message her right now. Lilith, join us next time. What was my GPA in high school and college? Thanks to the $2, Cuddy. I don't think Canada used GPAs. High school, I had very high marks. University, I had very low marks. If you get sick one more time, I think I get a free sandwich at Jimmy John's. Thanks to the $5, Doug. That reminds me of that. I've told the story on the she was allowed to. Did her GF okay? Oh God. That reminds me of a story. I've told it on my gaming channel a few times, but a lot of you people who are here don't watch the gaming channel, so I'll just retell it now. I knew a girl, like a friend of a friend, in university who worked for Subway. Okay, and her whole thing. Remember back in the 2000s, you had Subway stamps. So you get like a dozen stamps on your stamp card, and then you get like a free sub. That was before it was all plastic and like points cards and stuff, right? So you would get Subway stamps every time you go to Subway. Okay, so this girl that I knew when I was in university, she worked for Subway, and what she would do is a lot of times customers wouldn't take their stamps; they wouldn't care, so she would keep the stamps, and then after she got enough stamps for a sub, when a customer came along and bought a sub, she would pay for it using the stamp card she had filled up from other customers who had left their stamps behind, and then pocket the money. And she was never caught. And the reason she was never caught is because in terms of the books, everything was still even. There was no money actually being stolen because all the subs were still on paper paid for by the stamps. So she ended up, yeah, Spencer the Frostback. I know that you watch my streams sometimes, so you know this story. So she ended up keeping like over $5,000, and she ended up buying she bought a scooter with it, and she bought some other stuff. But she got like over the course of her working for Subway, she got over $5,000. It's like holy shit, dude, that's amazing. Like over the course of like a year. Level 100 mafia boss. Subway's quality is kind of going downhill, that's for sure. But $5K tax free ain't bad. Yeah, man. Yeah. Dudes be like, Subway sucks. My brother in Christ, you made the sandwich. Yeah, it's just money that customers abandoned. Yeah, that's how it is, man. That's how it is. So how's everyone doing? How's the chat? Turn the Minecraft server back on. Right. Second thing I can talk about. Okay, Doomcore. Yes, the my Minecraft server is back. However, it went down yesterday. Okay, I had an issue. with my home internet yesterday, and it required taking the Minecraft server offline. Okay, and then I guess I forgot to put it back up this morning. But the main reason that I was on Arch's stream last night, instead of streaming my own Tubcast and streaming my own Game Boomers, instead I was over on Arch's channel with Sargon and the boys. The reason is because I had some internet problems yesterday. And so I called my ISP up, and they're like, well, there's no outages or anything. And my internet still worked. So I was still online. There was no outages, though. And then I was like, but I was looking at my bandwidth. And my download and my upload speeds were both like 1/10 of what they should be. And it was not enough to stream. It was enough for me to talk on voice chat. I lagged out a little bit, but it was enough for me to talk on voice chat. But it wasn't enough for me to stream. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck's going on? So they're like, listen, we checked the ISP that I was on the phone with the ISP, and they were like, listen, there's no outages, there's no problems in your area, so it's probably that your modem is fucked. You know the box that comes into the house with the fiber optic line and then turns it into Ethernet. The modem is probably fucked. And I'm like, okay, well, what can we do? And he's like, well, I'll just send a tech out. There's already a tech going around your area today, so I'll send a tech out and just have him do a modem swap. I was like, okay, that's fine. That's fine. And then he didn't show up. I'm not with Rogers, I'm with Bell. But he didn't show up. He was supposed to show up yesterday, and I was like, Lilith, you might like co-stream this Archcast on our channel if I can get this done in time. We were like figuring out what to do, but in the end, I just basically became a guest on Arch's channel yesterday. I couldn't stream it myself. It wasn't going to happen because my internet was too shit. But he did show up this morning and just drop off a new box. So I swapped it out. My internet's back to normal. I can stream again. You know what? As soon as I had COVID for 3 fucking weeks. Okay, 3 weeks. The minute I'm not sick anymore, I have internet problems. Fuck me, dude. You know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna go and like go to stream tonight or tomorrow or something, and then like a meteor's gonna fall through my fucking house. Yeah, I got a tech. Yeah. The tech going around in your area is why it was borked in the first place. But anyway, new modem, internet's back. I should be able to, I can even go put the Minecraft server up right now if you want. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Hold on. It's in like a crawl space, like in between the floors of the house. But I can just like reach down there and do it. So hold on, here. You know what? I'll go do it right now. Listen, guys, support the channel. Donations help fund the Minecraft server, and get yourself on the Minecraft server. Details are in Discord. I'll just go turn it on right now. Here, give me a bit, okay? Hold on. One final sip before I go down into before I go down into the depths. Okay, give me a minute. Can you guys still hear me? It'll be just a second. Okay, it's done. Okay. How much did you how much could you hear anyway? Stay in the crawl space. Dev's gonna no clip into the back rooms. I didn't die. What do you mean? The meteor got him. When you finally get into the doctor's office, but the doctor leaves, you're just waiting in a different room. So hold on. Anyway, the Minecraft server, I just put it back up. It should be running. It should be running. Dev's tech support is so based he fixes problems during a show. So yeah, guys, how's it going? Could you actually hear me? Debate with Sunday. Who's Sunday? Yes, we can still hear you. Yes, yes, yes. Streamer found stuck in crawl space. Barely. Dev died in 2006. The router is not in the crawl space. The Minecraft PC is in the crawl space. That's what's going on. Basically, Dev, you don't know President Sunday. Isn't he like a retard? Only heard you when you yelled to ask. Oh, okay. I had to like open the thing, and that might have been a little bit loud. And then I talked to you from out there, but it was pretty far away. But yeah, basically I have a crawl space for storage, and we keep like just stuff that we're not using but we're storing for when we move. So like there's some old clothes in there. Dave has like an ironing board down there. There's just a bunch of stuff in there. However, it's also a perfect place to run servers, right? So the Minecraft server is running out of there, and so is my streaming PC for Game Boomers. President Sunday had him on, Adam and Sitch. He's insufferable. Yeah, I've seen him debate like Destiny, and like he was like purely fucking retarded. Holy shit! I saw him talk to Wicked Supreme. He was purely fucking retarded. Oh my lord, he was dumb. Fuck. He never says anything. He speaks like he's like Vosh on steroids in terms of how he talks. All right, he speaks with like the most has a stick up his ass cadence, okay? But he adds a bunch of really large words to make an idea sound more complicated than it is, but it's actually not a complicated idea. And then when you actually decipher what he's saying, it's wrong and stupid. Like holy fuck. Holy shit. You weren't impressed by him listing books he didn't read himself? Oh god, that was from the Wicked Supreme debate. That was fucking hilarious. He just like, do you have the books, and then Wicked Supreme's like, have you read them? He's like, no. See, I tend to bring up books only if I've at least read them. Like, I did the fascism video, and that video wasn't even like what I think, okay? You didn't get any of my own opinion on fascism in my fascism video to the very end when you saw my avatar pop up and it's like, here's what I think, all right? The entirety of that video was me summarizing knowledge I've gained from reading a bunch of books. And I listed the books at the start of the video. Which is why, by the way, it was so mind-boggling to me that some people were actually mad at me thinking that these are my opinions, because they're not. They weren't. You know? Like, yes, I also agree that post-fascism is a dumb fucking idea. I get it. But I was just summarizing what was in the books, which is why I brought the books up at the start of the video. I ain't got 2 hours. See your synopsis tomorrow, dude. See you later, buddy. I understand. But listen, I'm probably going to start doing longer streams in the future anyway. So you got to get used to it. Coop, CUP. Oh, isn't that like isn't there currently like an Ontario education thing going on. I'm not in school anymore, so I don't really care. Yeah. You know what I mean? President Sunday says change is left wing. Trump campaigned on change, therefore Trump is left wing. He's President Sunday. He's not completely wrong when he says change is left wing, but it's like also kind of stupid. There's this view that the right is inherently traditional at all times, and that the left is inherently changing at all times. And if you consider that to be the case, then one, fascism is left wing, because fascism isn't a traditional ideology. No fascist government has ever tried to institute old institutions. It hasn't happened. But two, the ultimate issue with that is that it presupposes that change is always good all the time. Like, I could drop a nuclear weapon on you, and that would change your life drastically, but it wouldn't be a good change. You know, sometimes, depending on what change we're talking about, not changing is better. In fact, reacting poorly to the change, being a reactionary, let's say, is actually the ideal response to what's going on. So it's like there was that one Vosh clip I used like maybe 6 months ago in a video where Vosh was like, being a progressive means just valuing change itself. You can't just be pro-trans, because that means that you're tomorrow's reactionary when the next change comes along. And that's actually true. The issue is that change isn't always good. And so valuing change for change's sake is retarded. I need to find the quote about tradition guiding change. Yeah. So like you need like equal parts a healthy knowledge of tradition as like your foundation, your base, to have your like your what are we thinking? Like your daily life virtues to be based on. And then from that point, then you can start thinking, okay, well, what is a good change? What needs to be fixed? All right. What can we build up? But that's a reforming process, not a revolutionary one. And the left is, according to the socialists, inherently revolutionary. They want to wipe everything out and then rebuild from the ground up with a new foundation. But the reformists say, well, hold on, no, we can build upon what we've done. And that's how you should do it. And in fact, it's probably the only way to do it. I don't think the revolutionary project is a good one. Like, the American Revolution was the exception. Most revolutions like make things worse, not better. Holding on to one political view throughout life is kind of BS. Yes and no. What you'll find as you get into your 30s and 40s is that you'll go through several different political eras of your life, where you've believed different things in different points of your life based on where you are, based on your identity. Are you a worker? Are you a student? You know, whatever the case may be. However, even as a bunch of political things change, you'll also recognize that there'll be some constants. Some things won't change. And the things that don't change are probably the more important ones than the things that do. You know, I've always been pro gay marriage ever since I learned that gay people couldn't get married. And even though I've gone from you know, like ridiculous progressive, almost like to tanky communist, to, you know, apolitical, and then to like liberal with a dash of conservatism, all throughout that thread, I've always thought gay people should be able to get married. That's never gone away. And my reason for gay people being allowed to get married is actually a pretty conservative one, because it you know, marriage is one of those stabilizing social forces, and if you can bring more people into the institution, then you have less people on the outside destabilizing it, and that's probably a good thing. You know, maybe it's better if the gay guy you know isn't just a raging fucking degenerate who is spreading AIDS to everyone and having 15-person fucking piss orgies and getting monkeypox. Maybe it's better if he's in a monogamous relationship and he has just one partner, and that relationship is as healthy as it possibly can be. You know, maybe that's better for society. If there's a place for the gays at the non-degenerate table. You know what I mean? Interesting take for a commie. Dev, you are still solidly on the left. Here's the thing: actual leftists don't think so. Leftists don't think that welfare capitalists are on the left because they're still capitalists. The leftists who are like hardcore leftists, they're like, if you're not a socialist, you're not a leftist. So to them, all the woke progressive nonsense, that's on the right. You know, all the rainbow capitalism, the LGBTQ woke corporate shit, that's on the right. That's a product of the right to them. So it really just depends on like left and right are useless labels because it depends on what your own position is to what those things actually mean. Meanwhile, there's people on the extreme far right who say, listen, if you're pro democracy in your government, then you're a leftist. And it's like, you know, these two views of what left and right they're not compatible, you know? Dev, what are your thoughts based on when on Lotus Eaters going full anti-porn for the past few days for No Nut November? I don't know. I haven't watched them in the past couple of weeks, to be honest. That's one thing I said at the end of my fascism video, actually, is that the extreme leftists view anyone who's not anti-capitalist. So if you're pro-capitalist in any way, even like pro-rainbow capitalism, pro like Norway welfare state capitalism, then you're on the right. Then you're a rightoid. And the only leftists are the socialists. Meanwhile, the people on the extreme right, they say, if you are in any way pro-democracy, and you reject the elite's natural place as at the top of the ruling hierarchy, then you are a leftist. And it's like, well, fuck. There's so much space in between those two positions in the center. You know what I mean? Like, Christ. That's why I don't use left or right to describe myself, and I use liberal. I am a liberal with some conservative opinions, all right? And there will be some instant, like, here's the thing. I would rather shake hands with a center-right person than a far-left person, because I am that close to the center, all right? And there are some instances in which I would vote for, you know, a center-left leaning party like the Democrats. There are some instances in which I would vote for a center-right leaning party like the Conservatives in Canada, you know? You know what I mean? Like maybe in the next Canadian election, I'm probably going to be voting Conservative. It just seems to be the best choice right now. But if I were voting in, like, who knows who's going to be the candidate, but I might vote Democrat in 2024 if I were an American. You know what I mean? So I definitely revolve around like the normal institutional center of regular center left, center right politics. You're going to work, Johnny? Have fun, man. Enjoy. Make some bread. Dev, the Democrats aren't center left. They really are, to be honest. There's a lot of copium coming out of the right now, but the Democrats really are like center left. Like, Biden's not a fucking communist, all right? Biden is a old man with a few, let's say, old man problems. And it seems to be other people in the executive that are actually kind of deciding what's going on. But Biden himself is no communist. No. Republicans are not center right. The old school neocons were kind of center right, but like the Republicans have been shifting to the right quite a bit with Trump. Like the Trumpsters, especially post 2020. They've gone off the rails a bit for me. Dev, what is that thumbnail? That will be coming. The dog pill video is on my BitChute, my friend. You would have voted Biden in 2020? No. Well, hold on. Let me put it this way, all right? On election night, I probably would have voted Trump over Biden. However, if on election night I had a crystal ball to see what the Trump wing of the Republican Party would have done on January 6th after they lost, I probably would not have voted Trump anymore. That was beyond the pale for me. That was beyond the pale. Cannot support, cannot get behind riots for the same reason that I cannot get behind the left who riots. So, no. They lost my support when they rioted. Tidge, what do you mean boring? Tidge, fuck you. Tidge, I'm gonna turn you into a fleshlight. God damn it. Okay, let me see what I got here for articles. Bad takes with Dev. I actually think that DeSantis is probably a better 2024 option than Trump. Trump is just like a fucking retard. And sometimes you need to elect a retard to let the actual politicians know that they fucked up that badly, that they prefer retards over here. But Trump's still a retard. Lost your support when they walked into doors that were open for them. If those doors weren't open for them, would have torn them down. And I think that was just like a desperate attempt at damage control. Yeah. Here, before we get to the articles that I have, perhaps I should read the supers before we get going. Okay. A few supers have come in. Thank you for the support, guys. I highly appreciate. Now that I'm actually able to do content again and the COVID is gone, I can get back to it. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Let's pull the super chats up. Oh, by the way, all you vaccine denialists in the chat, I think you're retarded, because Dave also got COVID. He got vaxxed. COVID for him lasted 3 days. For me, it lasted 3 weeks. It seems like the vaccine might be effective at making COVID not so bad for you. I mean, at the same time, that being said, we shouldn't be ignoring any possible side effects of it, and we shouldn't be forcing people to take it. And the vaccine passports were ridiculous. But if you say that the vaccine doesn't work, that seems to be stupid. That seems to be dumb. Let's see what we have for supers. Society of Learning, £4. Finally, I can procrastinate studying economics. Economics is like important, but also very fucking boring. Subject to Change, $5. Thank you. Kanye West, heart. Someone loves Kanye West. His name's Yee now, by the way. Darkstone, $5. The Canadian government needs to freeze the bank accounts of COOP members, label them terrorists, and vilify them. We will not tolerate disobedience. That is, well, I don't think the COOP members have been like blockading Ottawa yet, have they? If they go that far, then sure. At least then it would be consistent. Jasso Havens, $5. You are a rare breed of political YouTuber. You actually read proper literature. I mean, the driest thing I could ever sit through is the sci-fi novel Dune. Dune is pretty dry, to be honest. Jasso Havens, $5. In Catholicism, you have to get an exception if you know you are sterile because the purpose of marriage is to reproduce. By that logic, gays should too. Yeah, but if you're not Catholic, then those rules don't apply to you. Taras Shevchenko for $10. Thank you. True or false? The American Revolution ended well because the colonies were more or less happy how their government was running and split off of Great Britain to preserve it. Maybe. I think it was because they were all actually liberals. And not some like weird socialist or something in disguise. They were actually basing their complaints on liberal values against a tyrant. That ref person, $2. I'll shake your hand as a centeritis. Great. Thank you. Swedish Mafia 101. 50 kroner. Thank you. Why do you think some rightoid YouTubers have become unironic Russioid Putin simps? So much for small government, lol. There's a few reasons. One of them will be religious. You know, they view Putin as being like the last bastion of something that resembles like Christianity, because liberal countries have kind of become irreligious. Another reason is because they are literally just anti-democracy cucks. So they view Putin as being, the next, I don't know what you want to call him. He's like fascist light in his ideology. So, and Kraut did a great video, by the way, on the ideology of the Putin regime. It's worth watching. All you guys should watch it. But he's like a fascist light kind of guy. So a lot of them on the right are ironically pro-fascist, and so they're going that way. However, another component of the conversation, though, is a lot of it is just like anti-wokeness and anti-liberalism. There's a lot of people on the right in the West who are just like, the West is degenerate and decadent, and it's counter to tradition. And so we're going to support those who dismantle the liberal world order and the rules-based civilization that the liberals have built up over the past century. That's like the Paul Joseph Watsons of the right, where they just actively reject the civilization that has been built, and they want something else. I've started watching Kraut's content. I wasn't expecting his Trump's biggest failure video to be a friggin' deep dive into the historical geopolitics of China. This is the thing. Hey, Artemis. This is the thing. Trump, people on the left hate to hear this, but Trump wasn't that bad. At the same time, Trump wasn't that good either. Trump was like just a giant orange dick that sprouted out from the front of the White House, erect and huge, and splooging cum all across the American landscape. That's what Trump was. He didn't actually do anything. He had almost no legislative accomplishments. I can name 3 things Trump did. 1, he said he'd build the wall, and he built like a quarter of the wall. 2, he said he passed the First Step Act, but his subsequent budget didn't actually fund the First Step Act. The First Step Act, because he's an idiot who doesn't know how to run government. And 3, Operation Warp Speed to get the vaccine production going was actually pretty good. So like those 3 things, in terms of like what Trump got done with the powers that he had, he didn't do much. He was actually one of the most unremarkable presidents in terms of just legislation passed. I mean, when Congress stonewalls you, it's hard to get things done. Yeah, but he also billed himself as this great deal maker, The art of the deal. Well, it turns out he wasn't that good of a deal maker in the end. Here's the thing. People are saying peace in the Middle East, peace with North Korea. Nah, that was all smokescreen. That was all smokescreen. And if Trump had won, it still would have collapsed. Oh, let's continue here. Society of Learning, £2. I think Lotus Eaters has become audience captured. Yes, I think they also have as well. But they're still interesting to watch. Here's the thing: if there are people who like only swear by Lotus Eaters, you're only getting one half of the story. Now they do their half very well. All right, they do them justice, but you have to also look outside of them. You need to study. Here's the thing: you have to know about the leftists if you want to be able to oppose them. And in some ways, I don't think Lotus Eaters, the guys over at Lotus Eaters, understand how the left views themselves. They have a very solid understanding of how the right views the left. In fact, it's so solid that I don't think the left understands how the right views the left. But you also have to know how the left views themselves. You have to know what they look like from the inside. That's also a component of the conversation. And I don't think Lotus Eaters does that. I could be wrong though. I mean, I haven't seen everything they've done. Geth, $5. If you had to choose between post January 6th Trump and full get the jab, wear the mask, close the gems, and parks because the Ligma variant Dems, who do you pick? I would, in that case, I would definitely pick post January 6th Trump, but I wouldn't like it. However, the Dems have moved on from the full get the jab, wear the mask, close the gyms thing, because that's just politically unpopular. No one does that shit anymore. The few leftoids who are still like, it's still going, guys. There's still a pandemic. Well, you should be wearing your mask. They're just laughed out of everywhere now. The restrictions are gone, with the exception of the Canadian border, because Trudeau is literally one of those fucking cucks who is still like, it's still going, guys. Like, for most people, it's done. And the Democrats have fallen in line, as they should. As they should fall in line. I have anti-audience capture. Yeah, I know. It's so fun. I love you guys, even if we disagree. Let's keep scrolling. $2 from Master Gregor. Thank you. Still fat and goblin. Wish you a good evening, Blem. Thank you, buddy. $20 from Hylian Juggalo. Thank you. Speaking of internet issues, would you be interested in making a video about the aging IT infrastructure, academic dishonesty in the tech field, and how screwed we are when we lose Google? DM me. Network tech for 7 years. Okay, actually, you DM me, dude. You know how to get a hold of me? I'm in Discord. We can talk about it. What's the details? And thank you. $5, Shaker Silver. Dev, I need you to explain why the neoliberal establishment running at full cylinders to sell out the West is worse than MAGA policy. Well, one, those two things are actually pretty close. Secondly, I don't like this tendency of extremists on either side to immediately discredit institutions as soon as they lose, As soon as you lose an election, oh my God, it's not the fact that you were not as popular. It's the fact that the election was rigged and the institution itself is corrupt. As soon as the left loses Roe v. Wade, it's not the fact that Roe v. Wade was terrible law. It's the fact that the court itself is corrupt. It's like everyone attacks the rules of the game as soon as they lose the game. And it's like, well, no, you have to play the game better. And that's what I don't like. And I reject it on both sides. Zontar, when you move to Ottawa, will you start attending Otakuthon? Montreal's just 2 hours away. Yeah, but it means going to Montreal, though. Montreal. Tennyson, $5. Working idea. 10 to 15% of legislative bodies determined by lottery, with mechanism to ensure fairness. Thoughts? Also, you're wrong about Dune. 10 to 15% of legislative bodies determined by lottery. Yeah, but the issue with that is, like, unless you're going to force people who don't want to be in office to go to the office, you're still going to be drawing from people who want to be there. And that's still going to select for a certain type of person. I don't know if that'll work. Am I done coffee already? The game is rigged, Dev? No, it's not. That's copium. That's unironically copium. Tommy Tampons, $50. Thank you very much, dude. Jeez. I'm starting to worry for our future. I work on critical infrastructure, and I'm seeing less and less people smart enough to understand or comprehend the machines and theories need to maintain and continue improving on the base infrastructure. That is an issue, isn't it? Like, as you specialize, as you specialize, you start having economies of scale, and people become more regimented in their work. You get, like, people who have no fucking clue how, like, energy, how the power comes into their house through the light socket, or how the food gets into the grocery store. Like, people don't know these things, and you still need to be able to pay people to do them. I think it is going to be a problem, yeah. Rock of Video Synth, $2. Yee 2024. Anti-Semitic. Real Holsteiner, $10. Sometimes you need to remind people what happens when you tell the cops to stand down. I wish January 6th hadn't happened, but I would not have been sad if the mayor of Portland had faced the mob. Jesus, dude. Yeah. I think what happens, like, is in instances where the cops don't have the manpower to actually hold back a crowd, they will just open the doors, because that will still lead to less death than the alternative. Jiggy Calzone, $10. Sun Dev, Fun Dev. Futurama posited the founding of Oprahism, but I really think it's going to be Yeism now that he's been freed of material wealth. He may steer hard into religious cult leader. You think Kanye West is going to become like Jared Leto? It's possible, I guess. Lots of super chats today, guys. Thank you. I got to refresh again before we actually get to the news. I got to refresh. Thank you. Real Holtzner, $5. Dems have fallen in line with jab and restrictions. Now it's time to punish them for their mistakes. It's what they do to everyone else. That's what the upcoming election's for, right? Like, if you have a politician in your area who was pro restrictions, it's time to show them that you did not like it. The Geth, $5. You say that the Dems dropped the COVID tyranny, but the fact that they did it in the first place has put me and many others off forever. It's unforgivable. Fair enough, right? Like, that's a completely reasonable position to take. I cannot fault you for that. The Real Holtzner, $5. FBI and other government organizations use the media and big tech to censor information online all the time. System's totally fair. The difference is, this is what I was saying to Sargon yesterday. So, Sargon, Arch, V, Kibbs, they're all nice people, but they are absolutely deathly afraid of YouTube. And fair enough, right? They do not believe that the vote count was proper, but they won't say that on their channels. Fair enough, all right? If I actually thought the vote itself was rigged, I would just say it and then get a strike and be like, oh, fuck it, I would just say it. But I don't believe that. I think the votes, as counted in 2020, were legit. Where I think things might have been fishy in 2020 is how much or how little of certain stories that would have swayed public opinion the media chose to report on. That is where I think you have some fucky business. But at the end of the day, the votes as cast and as tabulated were the real votes. And in that sense, Trump did lose. The vote count was not BS. No, it was not. Four-sided triangle, £5. What do you think about the request for amnesty over what was said and done during early COVID? Ridiculous. And you have an election coming up, so make your voice heard. Just refresh it. Jeez, there's so many. Guys, thank you very much for all the donations. It's been like way more than normal today. Gregor, £2. Have you said the mold couch to Sargon yet? No. Real Holtzner, $2. I agree with your election assessment. Well, thank you. Charlie, $2. Gonna be a while till I can dono. Money tight. Take care. Listen, man, take care of yourself first, okay? I appreciate the donations, but don't break any banks trying to support me. Unless your name is Artemis Fowl. Then I expect donations from Mr. Artemis Fowl. And in fact, I haven't seen one yet today. You know what? Don't worry about it. Stream Troll Mike, $5. Good morning, tall, skinny Western animation enthusiast. This is a bit late, but what was your thoughts on the GTA 6 leak? They're just gonna ruin it. It's gonna be the same as Saints Row. They're just gonna like fuck it into the ground. It's like, all right, well, we know how this goes. We've seen so many, like we've seen Mass Effect Andromeda. We've seen all these fucking games and all these movies. It's old news at this point. Like, we knew what was gonna happen. That's just how it's gonna be, Spencer, $5. Where is the line? Where do we accept that there is no bargaining? I refuse to be just a speed bump on the road to utopia. Where's the line? I need to think about it. There is certainly a line where it's like, okay, we have reached a point where now we must actually revolt. But I don't think we're there. I don't know. I have to think about where the line is, but I'm pretty sure we're not there. Now that the COVID restrictions are basically gone and the economy is coming back online, society is more or less functioning for most regular people. So I don't think that I don't think we're at a line. I don't think we're anywhere close to it, to be honest. What's next? What's your take on Oz versus Fetterman PA Senate race? I don't like Oz, but Fetterman doesn't seem meant to be fit to lead. Both options suck. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it, Jasso Havens. There was some weird shit coming up about Oz recently, though, but I don't know enough. Stug, $2. You should update the Odyssey for a modern audience. Fuck. Artemis Fowl, $20. Wow. It's okay, buddy. Artemis, listen, I still want. Here's the thing. I know that you are at least kind of educated on economics, and I know that you're like a libertarian, right? So I loved the conversation between you and Econoboy, and I seriously want there to be another one because Econoboy is also educated on economics, and he's he's a social democrat. So I think the two of you have great convos, and I want to hear some more of them, dude. I want you to get ready to get your ducks in a row and polish up your arguments. It's gonna be fun. $5 real Holtzner. I wish the right could be more patient. In 100 years, there will be no leftists because none of them will want kids. We win the long game. I mean, maybe, right? Maybe. $5, the Geth. 2020 was for sure the closest we came to the line. Ask Louis Laval. We definitely thought America was over that summer. It was seeming kind of apocalyptic as we were getting closer and closer, right? Yeah. Okay. Wow. There were so many donations. We took 45 minutes to get through them all. Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate all the support. You guys are excellent. You guys are amazing. Amazing, as that one black guy says. What's his name? Jesse Lee Peterson? Amazing. Hold on. If you want to mail me stuff, mail it to that address. Mail it to that address, my friends. And if you do so, I'll open it on the stream. So there's my P.O. box. Now that I'm back and better, we're going to be watching movies in Discord again, but only if you're part of the $5 club. If you want to join the $5 club, you got to either sub on Twitch or hit the memberships button on YouTube or give $5 through Patreon or Subscribestar. Either way, any of those ways, a $5 recurring monthly tip will get you into the $5 club in my Discord. What else? Oh, if you have Amazon Prime, you can go over to the Twitch channel and just drop a free sub. You have to renew it manually every month, but it comes with your Amazon account, so please consider sending it over. And we will watch more movies now that I'm better. I'll even see if Naomi wants to watch one tonight. Yeah. $50 from Investigator Wimquin. Thank you very much, dude. Holy shit. Highly appreciated. I'm glad to see you're better, Dev. Now that you're better, I want to see your thoughts on an idea I had. As people voluntarily surrender their free will and decision-making power to automation and AI, this will lead to democracy to become increasingly irrelevant. Maybe, right? Like, why do you need to vote on anything if you've already given up your vote to the AI, right? I understand that point of view. I got a package from Uncle Ted. God damn it. Artemis Fowl, $5. I am not a libertarian. I am just anti-stupid. How he advocates for his philosophy will get him nowhere because he doesn't know how to create support. Okay, so here's what I understand your problem to be, Artemis Fowl, is that Econoboy's ultimate end goal would require more nationalization of the American economy than Americans are comfortable with. So therefore, Americans would not go for his ideas. And fair enough, right? That actually might entirely be the case. And maybe his political project is doomed to failure. However, Econoboy also is not a revolutionary in any way because he's not a socialist. He's very much a reformist. So with Econoboy, maybe it'll get to the point where like people like you and people like him will sit down and hammer out a deal where he gets some of what he wants and you get some of what you want, and then you can all walk away from the table kind of disappointed and kind of happy. And I think for him that would be enough because he's not an unreasonable man, you know? So, yeah. Well, here's the thing, Stug. Like, when I had that direct democracy kind of a debate, kind of a conversation with Econoboy, I got him to move pretty much instantaneously on the Senate issue. I was like, listen, Econoboy, you can't just have direct democracy everywhere because there are regional interests and there's a lack of knowledge between different regions about the problems of those regions. So you need to have regions represented. That's why the Senate is 2 senators per state, regardless of the size of the state. And he was like, "Yeah, I guess that's true." You know, like he immediately gave that up because he's not an unreasonable man. He can be persuaded by good arguments. You know, that's why I talk to him. See, I'll talk to Econoboy and I won't talk to Vosh because Vosh is a complete fucking drooling, gibbering retard who only thinks ideologically. He has no actual real thought process going on in his head. He has a system of Marxist heuristics that he filters all data down through, and he gets like a pre-packaged answer that comes right out of the lens without even thinking about it. Econoboy's not like that. Econoboy actually thinks about what you tell him, and that's why I appreciate him, even if we disagree. What's left? No more coffee. Based. Vosh is beyond saving. There was a boy crush on Econoboy. I mean, maybe. I'm already out of fucking coffee. God damn it. How do we... I haven't even started the articles yet, and we're already out of coffee. Shit. See, Doomer is also very similar, because Doomer's like a center-lefty as well, but he's also very reasonable, though. Have you seen the video where Vosh might be turning over a new leaf? No, I didn't. Charlie, link it to me. Send me it. I did hear, however, that Vosh got really angry at his chat, told one of his chatters to unironically kill themselves, and then turned off his stream and deleted the VOD because it was so fucking spicy. Yeah. More coffee, eh? Wait, Dev is moving into Medicare levels of... What do you mean Medicare levels of shills? What are you fucking talking about? Okay, hold on. Give me 30 seconds. I have some coffee in the other room. I'm going to go get the coffee. Okay? I'll be back. Just a minute. All right? And then we will actually do the articles. Okay? I won't be long. Okay, give me a minute. All right? The coffee was disgustingly cold, so I'm just going to microwave it real quick. Just give me like 30 seconds, it'll be done. Now that's good. All right, I'm back. Your daily dose of radiation. Microwaved coffee. Hold on. Brian, besides Dev getting a righteous talking to by Carl and Arch yesterday, they were still wrong, though. I mean, they're more charismatic than me. So, but in terms of the facts, I still have the upper hand. Oh. Okay. I guess more fucking donations came in while I was getting coffee. Okay. Jesus. Here. I will look at the final round of donos and we'll start the news articles, okay? I've enjoyed hanging out with you here talking, but I can't stay here all day. All right, my friends? At some point I should make like a BRB screen for this show, eh? Since I keep goofing around like this. Okay. Let's see what we got. A few more supers. Holtznader, $5. Hey Dev, is something legitimate just because it's voted on, or is there another dimension to it in your mind? Voting is not the only thing, no. For example, you could own your house, right? You could own your house, and then you could have 10 people walk into your house and vote themselves the owners, and they would have outvoted you. Democracy in action. But you own it, not them. And so their vote is not legitimate. So it's not just voting that makes things legitimate. Now, lots of ANCAPs and libertarians, they'll say it's consent that makes things legitimate. And it's like, okay, fair enough, right? Fair enough. You know, the fact that you are a free human being who can say yes or no, maybe that's the source of legitimacy. And in some ways it is. But at the same time, like, if you go to a criminal who should be locked away and you go to arrest him and he says, I don't consent, well, you will have to violate his consent. Maybe you have a good reason to violate his consent, but you're still violating it in the end. So consent itself in a vacuum is also not something that grants legitimacy. It seems to be that there's a network of different values that come together to make things legitimate. And philosophies that rely on only one value, like consent or like democracy, that the philosophy does not seem to work in other instances. And you need a web of different values that all have this push and pull relationship with each other. Artemis Fowl, $5. I can make his arguments for his ideology better than he can. I just don't want to. Well, go ahead. I want to hear him. Real Holtznader, $2. Read my super. I just did. Generic, $2. Why don't you have a coffee maker on your desk? My desk isn't big enough. My desk is not big enough for a coffee machine. Dev, you should get... This is from the other Artemis, not Artemis Fowl, just Artemis. Dev, you should get Pipkin Pippa on the Tubcast. I like Pipkin Pippa. And whenever I pop into her chat, she usually notices me. But no, I don't think Pipkin Pippa knows who I am. I think she just sees the check mark beside my name. If any of you have, like, a line to Pipkin Pippa, okay, I'll talk to her, sure. But I don't have one. Kenrick, $5. Dad, if I've been saying that the game is rigged for a decade, am I still dismissed as just coping? If the game isn't rigged, yeah, that's a decade of coping right there. You read it, sorry, LOL. Okay, thanks, Holtznader. Wait. Sakana, Pippa's manager, would not let her have a stream with you. Sorry, Dev. You're problematic. Yeah, but Pippa herself is problematic. What's the difference? You're getting a rock. Thanks. Thanks, Spencer. Wait, does V know who she is? Okay. Talk to my buddy Ghost Politics. Oh, baby, Ghost Politics. True Capitalist Radio. I'm not a frickin' brony. Sakana stopped to collab with Rekieta Law. I'm not as problematic as Rekieta is, though. Investigator Wimquin, $10. A good example of what I'm talking about is the anime Psycho-Pass. If you strip away cyberpunk elements of the show, the core idea is not that bad, at least to me. I don't remember Psycho-Pass, man. I think I saw it like way back in the day, but I don't remember. I don't like Rekieta has a couple of odd views, I think, but he's not that problematic. However, I'm just less problematic than he is. I'm pretty normal. Hold on. To be fair, if I showed up in your chat, you didn't know who I was until yesterday. Hold on, Artemis Fowl. Artemis Fowl. I know you don't want me to reveal who you truly are, so you probably shouldn't push that button, okay? Yes, I didn't know your real identity until yesterday, and now I do. Guys, Artemis Fowl has a secret identity. I'm not a frickin' brownie. Okay. That's all the supers. Very much appreciated, everyone. You guys are excellent. Thank you. Thank you. The Econo Boy is actually Donald J. Trump. That's it. Yeah, that's what it is. He's actually Trump. Should we do the links that I've collected for today? That's all the supers. Show is over. Fuck you. Flamenco. Holy fuck. Hey, buddy. Wait, should I mod Flamenco too? Yeah, why not? He's also a friend of mine. Add moderator. I directed My Little Pony. I'm sorry for what we started. Okay, let's go. Let's see what I've got. Let's see what I've got. Let's see what I've got. Okay. Okay. Firstly, Shakes pills. Yeah. Flamenco. I know the old jokes. Firstly, there's an account on Twitter called Morbius Devo. It's a cool account. You should all be following it. Let me put it in the chat. Okay? Pin in the chat, in fact. Morbius Devo. It posts some pretty good bangers. So, you should all follow it. A Musk-approved account. Oh, also, this is the image that Arch refused to pull up on his stream last night. The Bolocaust. The Kanye versus the Jews race war is really kicking up, guys. It's going kind of nuts. But yes, follow Morbius Devo on Twitter. Secondly, this is an individual that I've been watching recently. I might reach out to them and try to get some sort of interview with them or something, because this is Anastasia Praskavova, who is a woman who is currently living in the middle of the Ukraine war. And she's had some very interesting things to talk about and some very interesting stories to tell. So I'm going to see if I can talk to her, because she always seems very interesting whenever I see her going around streams. I think it'd be a very interesting thing to talk to her about stuff. You know? Wonder if her father died in the war. And I had to get a new tattoo in memory of my father. He loved apricots. Huh. Is it the ghost of Kia? But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can talk to her. I don't know if she'll be interested, but maybe it'll be a fun thing to do. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll be a fun thing to do. Let's see. Naomi wanted me to talk about this, and I don't exactly know why, but maybe. I guess I'll talk about it. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender TV series. Character descriptions and logline revealed. So they're making a live-action Netflix Avatar, guys. It turns out she's from the Azov Battalion. Yeah. Casting has begun early last month for Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender live-action series. Oh my god. So, Aang is male, Asian. He's 12 years old, East Asian or South Asian heritage. A bit goofy, a bit nerdy, restless in school. Always eager. Yep. Okay. Yep. Katara, female, Native American. 14, female of heritage and indigenous to North America. Okay. Sokka is male, Native American. 16, male. Yep. Zuko is male, Asian. 17. Okay. I mean, these seem mostly correct. Aren't these like the right races for these characters? I mean, Aang's obviously Asian. Yeah. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Now, it's Netflix, so I don't trust them, right? So she was Inuit based? Maybe, yeah. They're gonna make this a stupid high school drama? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, because here's the thing. Making Dragon Ball a fucking high school drama for that terrible Dragon Ball movie from the 2000s. Fuck, dude. Air nomads are pretty clearly Tibet inspired. Well, yeah, but I mean, East or South Asian heritage. That's good enough. It's good enough. Katara's supposed to be Inuit. Yeah, but there's so few Inuits left that I guess they're just going to take any indigenous they can get. It's like, they won't know the difference. Just put them in a fur coat. It'll be okay. As long as you don't get the Indian Fire Nation, it'll be better than Shyamalan's. Yeah, because weren't the Fire Nation... Wasn't the Fire Nation like Chinese or Mongolian? Anyway, Naomi wanted me to talk about this, so I did. But I don't like Avatar the way she does, so I don't know if this is going to be a good idea or not. Texas teacher gets a 60-day prison sentence for sex with 6th grader. This week, the 32-year-old Marka Bodine went before Harris County Judge George Glass, who sentenced her to 60 days in prison and 10 years of probation following her guilty plea on the charge of continuous sexual abuse of a child. The sentence was postponed because of the recent birth of her child. She has until June 5th, 2023 to report to jail. The underage victim was not the child's father. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, she's a decent-looking woman. You know? She could have gotten a BF. What are you doing fucking 6th graders? What the fuck? I'm heartbroken for the complainant and his family. I'm really disappointed in the outcome as a prosecutor, a child abuse prosecutor. I'm disappointed as a citizen of Harris County. And also, yeah, 60 days. Seems like... Yeah. The sentence came as a surprise to the Harris County District Attorney's Office, which requested a minimum sentence of 20 years. You had sex with a child, you get 60 days? Like, what the fuck is this? The case came to light in April of 2021 when Bodine reported to the school principal that a former student who was 16 at the time was harassing her and threatening to harm himself. During an investigation, the student claimed a relationship with Bodine lasted almost 3 years. The relationship began in 2018 when the male victim was a 6th grade student of Bodine's. The two began chatting through the video game Fortnite and then turned to text messages. Once the student turned 13, the relationship began to turn sexual. Over the course of 3 years, Bodine sent roughly 40 explicit images of herself to the teen. During that time, Bodine went through a divorce and moved into the same apartment complex of the teen victim. Bodine had sex with a student in her classroom and in her vehicle. The Fortnite Battle Pass, guys. You max it out, you get yourself a MILF teacher. Fuck. All right, let's continue. Oh, this is Kiwi Farms. Right. So, Kiwi Farms is back. This was the post on Monday. This is kiwifarms.net. We're not on Tor. This is regular internet. Apparently, Tier 1 ISPs have been trying to take Null's website down, but it is still here, in fact. I am absolutely livid and at the same time very sad. I first started using the internet at about 9 years old. I saw many websites that were just ideas propped up by individuals or two brothers, and they became massive cultural phenomenon from basically nothing. Newgrounds, MySpace, RuneScape, and 4chan all fit into this category. I realized very young that I wanted to try and be one of those people. Unfortunately, those people were my age when I was a kid, and they all got out at the right times. I'm now trying to prop up an antiquated format in a modern era where the average retard has a Twitter account and gets to decide what kind of website is too offensive to stay up by sending emails on their fucking iPhones. I feel like the internet is an old friend and I'm watching it die in real time thanks to a cohort of sex pests. I mostly agree with that. The fight is to be on kiwifarms.net, on ClearNet, accessible to the average user of the internet with no special tools or requirements. Now, Kiwi Farms is a pretty disgusting place, but they should not be taken down. Free speech is still free speech. They document on their site. They don't seem to do any harassment themselves, which is why I think that the claims of harassment are not founded. If individual members of Kiwi Farms do harass people, they are smart enough not to do it on the site itself. But Kiwi Farms seems to be back. If you go to kiwifarms.net, you can go there. It's back. At the same time, Keffels, I want you all to know what has been going on. This might be the last thing I post online for a while. Goodbye, everyone. Keffels got her 6-figure payout. She failed at keeping Kiwi Farms down, and now she's leaving the internet, guys. Who could have fucking saw it coming? Who could have seen it coming, guys? Twitter suppresses links, and my YouTube channel is probably shadow banned. Keffels' channel actually isn't that popular. Her Twitch channel is kind of big. Her Twitter account is fucking huge, but her YouTube is dead. Her YouTube is fucking dead. So, he cashed out. Tidge, don't get my channel taken down. She cashed out. She is a disgusting human being. I can call her a she and still think that she's subhuman. So, now listen. Let us check out what's going on over on the Keffels account. Hi. Wait, hold on. It's not okay.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
I wanted to talk about some stuff that's been going on that I haven't felt comfortable talking about it. So I'm sorry if I pause at any point to collect my thoughts, but when for a living you talk to people about yourself, about what's going on in the world, it's really hard to keep things private. Before I get into it, I want to say that I'm not looking for advice, and
oh my God,
this isn't therapy.
Get to it.
I have a therapist. I know that a lot of people here have probably felt like something is up, something changed, and I feel like I owe it to everyone to let people know what's been going on.
By the way, she was talking about how she was moving into a new place. This looks exactly like her old place, doesn't it?
On. So, I mean, everyone here already knows that basically for the entirety of 2022, I've been relentlessly harassed up until it reached a climax in August where I got swatted and I got arrested and I became the subject of a big media story, and it was incredible.
Well, that's because she lied about everything, right? Like, if you guys if any of you guys have gone over to Destiny's channel and seen the Keffals Manifesto, fuck, it's a good watch. He documents everything, all right? Like, hardcore, autistic, everything collected, everything put together. All this shit has been disproven, all right? However, here's the thing. A person who is relentlessly harassed and scared for their life does not constantly keep posting where the fuck they are on the internet. It's like, oh, I'm over at this hotel. Oh, I'm over here in Ireland. Oh, I'm going over to TwitchCon. If you're being stalked and you're fearing for your life, who the fuck goes to TwitchCon? No, this person was just grifting. That's all it was. Just fucking grifting.
Intense. It's something that's really strange looking back on, because when I was going through it all, for the most part, I felt very emotionally numb to everything that was happening. It was just something that I knew I had to get through, that there was no point I could stop because I had to keep going and I had to keep fighting, especially after I started the Drop Kiwi Farms campaign. It was
and now I'm going to stop because I got the money and Drop Kiwi Farms failed.
A lot to take on. It was something that people had tried for almost a decade to do, and they couldn't do it. And I managed to do it, but it came at a pretty big cost to me. One of the things that I did intentionally for the success of the campaign was make myself a lightning rod. I egged them on. I egged Kiwi Farms on. I wanted them to attack me, because by doing that, I was able to show the world how fucking vile they are. That's what did it. That's what made us win that campaign. That I was willing to expose myself. By making myself a lightning rod, I became the target of a lot more intense harassment and abuse and hacking and swatting and stalking.
What do you mean she got the money? She managed to run up a huge GoFundMe, and then she just cashed out.
And it continued to go onward. And while I was dealing with that, I also had to deal with the fallout of harassment from other people and from other places on the internet, and right-wing grifters who were eager to turn the very traumatic thing that happened to me into content, to try and cast.
You turned it yourself into content. And now that the content has dried up and no one gives a fuck about you or your stream anymore, now you're leaving.
Doubt on my motives or what actually happened, despite the fact that it was very well documented by journalists. All of it took a big toll, and I've been trying to ignore that. And that's basically what I wanted to talk about, because I've been trying to come back, and it's been very hard for me to. After all of the things that happened, after how intense it was, after everything that I've been subjected to, I can't.
After the fact that everything fell apart and you lost, and you were revealed to be just like a fucking loser, and a liar, and a grifter. Okay, hold on. Did you guys hear? So Destiny couldn't go to TwitchCon, right? Because he's if you're banned from Twitch, you're banned from TwitchCon. You can't go in the building. But Melina, Destiny's wife, and Chud Logic, they were at a party with like a bunch of Twitch streamers, and they're all hanging out at TwitchCon, and they're like drinking and hanging out, like talking about stuff. And Keffals is at the party. And Keffals comes up to Chud Logic and Melina and is like, you need to get your boyfriend to stop coming after me, or I will get his YouTube account deleted. Like, holy fuck. What the fuck, dude?
Go back. There's no normal to return to. And trying to move forward has been something that I don't exactly know how to do. The reason that I wanted to do this in the first place, to talk about this, was because I don't think that I have ever opened up about how hard it has been behind the scenes. Once I got back to Canada, finally, once I started settling into my new place and things started to calm down, I was a wreck. It was awful. And
it was awful that after everything calmed down, no one was watching me anymore. There was no more money at all the attention, everything dried up. And it was just so terrible that I realized no one actually gives a fuck about me outside of the drama. So Keffals has tried to do video game streams, and they haven't worked out. They haven't worked out for, not that I'm one to talk, because my video game streams get like 50 to 100 viewers at the most, at the absolute most. Usually it's more like 50. So I can't talk too much about things not working out. But she tried to get a gaming stream going. No one cared. She tried to do like trans activism streams. No one gave a fuck. No one watched any of that shit. People only showed up to Keffals' stream when she was dunking on someone else. When she was being the most toxic fucking person on the internet.
I was dealing with a lot of depression. Going from a period of like multiple months where you're just constantly in a state of hyperarousal where you're always looking out for danger because at any point something bad could happen.
Please don't talk about your hyperarousal.
To everything being calm just fucks with your head. The human brain is not designed to deal with that. You can't just like suddenly go from being in a state where you're constantly on edge to everything being calm. Like your brain will not let you do that. Yeah, I got back and I was incredibly depressed. And it got to a point where I started even questioning whether or not I wanted to continue to live. And as a result of that, one of my friends got really concerned and flew up from the US to stay with me. And I've been okay. I resumed therapy. I'm seeing a psychologist once a week. And it's been hard to process all of this. I meet all of the diagnostic criteria for post-traumatic stress disorder. And a lot of what I'm trying to heal from and move past is dealing.
I wonder how true this is. It might be it might be possibly kind of true. Yeah. Because at the same time, I'm coming around to the belief that a lot of these people, they gaslight themselves into their own mental problems, you know? So they do actually have the mental problem, but they do it to themselves. You know? So she doesn't behave like someone who has PTSD. And I know people who have PTSD. Sophia Narwitz has PTSD because she served as a soldier, you know? And it's not like this. It's not what Keffals describes. At the same time, I think it's entirely possible to mindfuck yourself enough that you actually start developing symptoms of a psychological disorder that you didn't have, you know? I think you see like a lot of you see women who have like bad sex in their teens or their 20s, right? And then when they're like 29, 30 years old, 32 years old, their friends are like, "Girl, I think you were raped." And the other friend is like, "I think you were raped too. That sounds like you were raped." And now 10 years on, they're like, "I was a rape victim." And then they end up, and then at that point, they start developing symptoms of being a rape victim. And it's like, holy shit, you did this to yourself. Like people, I think, traumatize themselves sometimes. And I think Keffals, if she actually is traumatized, she's in that camp.
With the trauma of what happened. And more than anything, I just want to get back to streaming. I want to get back to where I was before the swatting on August 5th. And it's been incredibly hard to try and figure out how to do that. I feel like in the process of everything that's happened over the last several months, like a part of me died or something. I really wanted everyone to know that because at least like in my head, my plan was to come back and to settle down and to move on and to get back into doing political commentary, to start covering the midterms and to continue to cover what's been going on around the world. I'm struggling a lot. I'm struggling to maintain a consistent streaming schedule. And the streams that I have done, I've been so burnt out that it's hard to even do the things that people became part of my community on Twitch because of. It's very hard to be.
Okay, so I don't necessarily want to watch this whole thing because it's kind of ridiculous. At some point in here, she says, I think she's leaving the internet. Like, where is it?
Clapped from Twitch and Kiwi Farms. I don't really care. Like, people are always going to be edgy. People are always going to be stupid on the internet.
I'm sure. Where's you leaving?
To feel pleasure, even when things are good. If something great could happen, I don't give a shit. I'm so used to being on streams that I'm used to smiling. As activist would go back to my old shit posts and we're like, I guess this is a 100% serious opinion. When like back in the day when I made all those tweets, no one knew whether the fuck I was serious or not about literally anything. And even now, because I shit post so much, trying to have like a serious stream where I talk about everything and open up and be like, okay, things have actually been very fucked for me. But
yes, well, excuse me, but according to Vosh, as he talks about Count Dankula, your jokes are in fact an insight into your real life opinions. So everything you said was actually how you feel.
Things are going to be okay. No one knew whether or not I was being serious. Tone indicator. I'm going to start using tone. I thought tone indicators are cringe, but now I like them because no one knows when I'm being serious. So now I have to use tone indicators so people know I'm being serious. I love being a pediatric ICU nurse and I was good at it. Then one afternoon I woke up, was starting to get raped for work and found myself on the floor crying. Traumatizing positions, just how numb you have out. But before he did, he said to the other doctors, "Save me."
Come on.
You up like coming out of that situation. Covering the midterms. I drastically underestimated how much effort covering the midterms. Point in this month I'll be ready. I'm hoping I'll be ready. I'd imagine you'd have to be. I think at some point in this month I'll be ready. I'm hoping I'll be ready. I really wanted to cover the midterms. I don't think I'm going to be covering
so midterms. She's gone for a month? I
drastically underestimated how much effort everything would be coming back. I hope everything that I talked about today helps people kind of understand where things are and why I haven't really been the same coming back.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, somebody I'm seeing is logged in on my phone.
Shut up. I don't know how to pull this up, Flamenco, because it's in the DM. Okay, hold on. Here, I'll take away the screen. I'll bring my DM down there. I'll full screen. So now they can't see your DMs with me, Flamenco, okay? Okay. Flamenco wants me to play this as a chaser.
I want you all to know. I want you all to know what has been going on. This might be the last thing I post online for a while. Goodbye. Right? It's not going to be the last thing she posts. because that cease and desist is coming. It's in the mail, baby. I'm gonna need you to post. I need you to post one more video or tweet redacting your prior statements, please.
Oh my God!
Don't go yet, little sis. Don't go yet. This
That's
might be
right.
The last thing I post online for a while.
So Destiny retained a lawyer up here in Ontario, since Keffals and I both live in Ontario, and he has decided to move forward. He has decided to move forward with with legal action against Keffals for all the false shit she said about him.
Wow. Goodbye, everyone. She actually thinks her shit is shadow banned. When the reality is, nobody likes you. Like, that was it. You got popular on Twitter because you fought with people. You rode off of, like, the trans discourse shit. But, like, this is it. Your whole content is fighting with people. Remember when she made a video saying he'll be irrelevant in a month or two because all he does is fight with people? And then remember, like, a few weeks ago when she was desperately trying to fight with people on Fox News, Keemstar, and any other random fucking person that, like, and this is why. It's because you're nothing. You're boring as fuck. You're stupid. You have no content. Nobody likes you. All you get is, like, some fucking Twitter engagement. And that's it. Get fucked.
Jesus. Hold on. Listen to that again in the final few seconds. There's an alarm in the background. The cops are coming for you, Destiny. You're too based. Fucking hell. What I think of What If Autist? He's very intelligent. He's a smart dude. Anyway, Keffals is gone for at least a month.
Hi everyone.
Shut up. She'll be back, I'm sure, at some point to be irrelevant yet again. But oh, Charles Kahn. Hey, buddy. You're somebody I know too. Hold on, here, buddy. There you go. There you go, Charles. What's up? So, maybe we will see in the near future the Keffals OnlyFans account. Maybe that's her ultimate endpoint. Maybe that's what's going on. Could you see it? I mean, she does do some thirst pics with, like, her tits out. There's been a few of those over the past few months. So maybe we'll see that. Maybe we'll see Keffals OnlyFans. The issue is though, is that when it comes to trans women, they're much more popular with the dick than without. And Keffals got bottom surgery, so I don't think she'll be that popular on OnlyFans, to be honest. You know, people would take, like, a Blair White OnlyFans because she's still got her penis. You know, people like Lilith's porn because she's still got her penis. People tend not to like the post-ops. The entire chat is going nuts. Wait, no way of verifying this, but I heard she used to do fart porn? What? There's no fucking way. I don't believe this at all. I guess Fuda is indeed best? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So listen. Those of you... So I know that there's a bunch of you in the chat who are all low IQ interventionists, and you can't appreciate the fact that the dick makes it better, okay? I understand that. But, for those of you who do understand, the patricians of the chat room right now, you will know that when it comes to femboys or trans women or whatever kind of girly thing with a penis that we're talking about, all right? People prefer girls with dicks over girls who have their dicks surgically removed. And that is like a hard fact. A hard fact. All right? Dev just come out of the closet already? Oh, dude, I'm bi. I always have been. I like women, all right? I like women with vaginas, who were born with those vaginas. Cis women, all right? Regular women. But I also like trans women. I like women with penises. I like femboys. I like all those things, all right? I like people like Taftaj and Lilith. And Tidge in the chat. Yes. So there we go. All right, I'm out. Yeah, Sig Earther, both Lilith and Taff have done porn. It's on the internet. All the porn's on the internet. You can just look it up. But yeah, so it actually seems to be pretty common. I don't know exactly why, but if you have men who are bi and those men who are into both cis women and trans women, they don't like post-op trans women. They only like pre-op trans women. And I think that there's this idea that if you're going to get with a vagina, you might as well get with a real vagina. And if you're going to get with a dick, you might as well get with a real dick, whichever one you happen to like. I think that seems to be the case. But that is considered ridiculously transphobic in the trans community. So, because they want that sex change to make them identical to cis women. So it's like, well, I have a vagina and they have a vagina, so there's no difference. And it's like, no, there's still a difference. There's still a difference, right? So I think that's why so many men who are into both cis women and trans women also don't like trans women who have gotten bottom surgery. I think that's a pretty normal thing, actually. Does that all make sense? I know a lot of you in there are just like straight up super straight, so you don't really get this kind of nuance in this dynamic, so I understand that, but I hope I at least explained it enough to you that you know what's going on, right? Yeah. Go for the genuine thing. Well, yeah, like, here's the thing. You know, a girl with a dick, that's still her dick that she was born with, because she's a trans woman, right? So it's still genuine in the end. You can still enjoy the genuineness if you're into that sort of thing, right? But it's the changing of the genital that I think that makes things, that turns off a lot of people who would otherwise be into it. You know what I mean? Oh my god, Artemis Fowl just DM'd me the Keffels fart porn. Ugh. Okay. You've got to confirm if this is real, okay? Just hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Jesus Christ.
You've been waiting a while for this, you stupid cuck.
That is Keffels.
What's wrong with you that you want this?
I don't know, dude. You tell me.
Doesn't matter to me, though. Gladly give it to you, you little bitch.
Okay. Maybe I won't continue to play. I think here. Hold on. I'm going to mute it for you guys cuz I don't want this stream to get fucked entirely, okay? I'm muting it. But I can still hear it. You guys can't hear it. I can still hear it. Hold on. Wow, she puts her ass right to the camera. Jesus. No, I don't like that. Nope. Oh my god. Oh my... Jesus Christ. Hold on. Das Stein, after 5 years, I'm disliking the stream and unsubbing. Goodbye. No, don't leave. Don't. Okay. Nope. I'm not. No. This will get the channel taken down. All right? No, we're not doing this. I'm closing it. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. Okay? Holy fuck. Oh my god. I can't fucking believe this is real. Like, what the fuck? Oh my. DM to Poe. Do you mean Living Scribe on Twitter, Murgoot? Is that who you're talking about? Oh my god. Wow. So, one day, I'm going to have... Okay, I'll send it to Poe. I know who Poe is. I'll send it to Poe. One day, I'm going to have to do a Keffels video. And maybe I'll file this away for that day. Where's Poe? Do I have him in my DMs? Hold on. Poe, where are you, buddy? I know we're mutuals on the new Twitter account. Living Scribe. No, that's not him. Wait, where is he? Did he get banned? Did I? Poe. I know there was Living Scribe and Undead Scribe. But both of those are gone now, I think. What's his current Twitter account? Oh, Dying Scribe. Okay, thank you. Dying Scribe. Yeah. Here, I'll send it over to him. My chat said to send this to you specifically. All right, Poe. You have fun with that shit. Okay. This is cruel and unusual, Dev. Wow. Is he back on Undead Scribe? Is that back? Hold on. I thought it got banned. Undead Scribe. No, it's still banned. Undead Scribe's still banned. All right. Moving on. No more Keffels nonsense. No more ridiculousness. That's enough. Link, are we riot? No. Find it yourself. Oh, fuck. All right. Let's continue. Fucking hell. I'm moving on, Thoth. Don't worry. It's time. Georgia couple charged with using their adopted children to make child porn. Oh boy. We're out of one flaming pit of degeneracy into another one. Okay, I'll post the link in the Xaver channel in Discord later, okay? That is the place for it. Okay. A Georgia couple has been charged with using their 2 adopted children to record child pornography. Wow. Walton County Sheriff's Office raided a home in Loganville on July 27th and reports that a man there was downloading child porn. After interviewing the suspect, who was not identified, police said they learned there was another suspect in the county who was producing homemade child sexual abuse material with at least one child who lived in the home. Around 11:30 p.m. that same night, they executed a search warrant in Oxford at the home of William Dale Zulock and Zachary Jacoby Zulock. Walton County's Division of Family and Child Services joined deputies in responding to the home to help protect the 2 brothers who lived there. During their search, deputies found evidence that the pair, who were the children's adoptive fathers, were engaged in sexually abusive acts and video documenting this abuse. Early in the next morning, the Zulocks were both booked at the Walton County Jail. Both men were charged with aggravated child molestation, sexual exploitation of a child, and enticing a child for indecent purposes. Jesus fucking Christ, guys. Fuck. That's why I'm a communist? What? I don't support this shit. Yeah, the teacher got 2 days. These people are probably going to jail for years, as they should. So here's a continuation of my Canadian euthanasia video from earlier. This is from the Canadian publication, The National Post. Canadian doctors encouraged to bring up medically assisted death before their patients do, against the legislation, by the way. A guidance document produced by Canada's providers of medically assisted death states that doctors have a professional obligation to bring up MAID. This just came out, November 2nd. A few days after I made my video, this shit came out. In most jurisdictions in the world with legalized euthanasia, doctors are explicitly prohibited or strongly discouraged from raising assisted dying with a patient. The request must come from the person. This is how the legislation here in Canada was originally written, and they've been dismantling that. But a guidance document produced by Canada's providers of medically assisted death states that doctors have a professional obligation to bring up MAID as an option when it's medically relevant and the person is likely eligible, as part of the informed consent process. There is no legal restriction on who can raise the subject of MAID with someone with a grievous and irredeemable illness, disease, or disability, provided the intent is not to induce, persuade, or convince the person to request an assisted death. But some ethicists argue that introducing death as a treatment option without the person suggesting it first is seriously problematic, especially within the expanding realm of MAID, and that people could be unduly influenced to choose to have their life intentionally ended, given the power dynamics of the doctor-patient relationship. Some people, no matter how well handled your conversation, may infer that's essentially a suggestion. This is true, you know? That's what ended up happening with that one recording that I played in the video. I just told Artemis just DM'd me, and he was like, "You're welcome for the Keffels fart porn," and I was just like, "You owe me more super chats after that, buddy." Fuck. They would also definitely infer that they have the strong potential to meet the eligibility criteria, or you wouldn't be offering it. True. The document was created and published in early 2019 when MAID was still restricted to those whose natural death was reasonably foreseeable. However, it remains a guide for doctors and nurse practitioners navigating MAID as an eligibility criteria expand. The subject of bringing up MAID is the topic of one of the components of new MAID curriculum under development, and it was part of a free professional development webinar for healthcare providers this week. Okay, so while it is absolutely illegal to counsel someone to die by suicide, To counsel, from a doctor-patient perspective, means to inform and discuss, the group's guidance reads. The clinical perspective of the meaning of the word counsel has no bearing on the legal meaning. That is a great little loophole you have going on there, guys. The timing should be at the discretion of the doctor, the group recommends. In almost all cases, it would be inappropriate immediately upon delivery of a grim and irredeemable diagnosis. However, once options for all treatment options, including cessation of treatment, are presented to the patient, it would be appropriate to disclose the availability of MAID. We have to make sure people are aware of their options. All right, so it goes into the stories that I talked about in my video, but they are inching and inching and inching, and though they may not have officially crossed the line yet, the trend is worrying, and we have to see where this goes. You know what I mean? Fuck. Oh, that's right. I had to archive this article, and it actually destroyed the headline of it. The headline was, how did a 2-time killer get released only to kill again? The person before the parole panel in June 2019 was tall and slim, in far better shape than the 81 years of life might have suggested. Mild and polite, the supplicant seemed nothing like the murderer who had spent decades in prison, first for shooting a girlfriend dead in 1963, and then for stabbing somebody else in 1985. Stuffing her corpse into a bag and leaving it in Central Park. At 81 years old, the inmate told the parole board, "I'm no longer that person." 2.5 years later, he was accused of killing again. Parts of Miss Susan Layden, 68 years old, parts of her body was found in March inside a shopping cart in East New York. Jesus Christ! In her apartment, investigators found a bloody mop, a tub full of towels, and a box for an electric saw. Like, how do you keep letting this guy out, guys? How do you keep letting this guy... Wait. Oh! This is how! Oh. Wait. In far better shape than 81 years of life. I'm no longer that person. Miss Harvey, a transgender woman who transitioned at some point after her release from prison. Oh. Is that how he changed? He became a woman? Miss Harvey has pleaded not guilty to murder, and she's blaming the New York criminal justice bureaucracy. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. So let's see. Guys, don't do it. Not all trans women are like this, okay? They're not all Buffalo Bill. Listen. Okay. The records include several examples of her harassing or attacking women throughout her life. She was accused of attempted rape at 14. The victim was an 8-year-old girl. Miss Harvey, who by her own account struggled with mental health, said she had to choke down rage when women challenged her manliness before she transitioned, making fun of her soft voice, for example. A homeless shelter worker and people close to Miss Layden questioned whether, despite her gender identity, Miss Harvey should have been placed in a homeless shelter for women, given her history of attacking and murdering them. Speaking to the New York Post, Miss Harvey referred to herself as having 2 personas. One, a violent male named Harvey Marcelin, the name she used for most of her life. It is included in court records. And the other, a soft-spoken woman named Marceline Harvey. Oh. So this is like a Gollum Smeagol thing going on here. A Jekyll and Hyde, only trans. Yeah. In any case, this person got let out. Here is Miss Marceline Harvey, guys. Marceline Harvey, after her arrest in March. So this person seems to have some other kind of problem unrelated to being trans. Like, this is nuts, all right? Most trans people don't have 2 personalities where their pre-trans self is still kicking around inside their head. This is a whole different ballgame here. My God. And it seems like being born in 1938, Miss Harvey has had a crazy life, all right? The attempted rape at 14, as a young adult, lived with her mother and earned $75 a week operating copy machines. She had a girlfriend, Jacqueline Bonds, but her life was chaotic. Miss Harvey drank often, took cocaine, regularly assaulted the girlfriend, and was in and out of psychiatric care. In 63, Miss Harvey was accused of rape, this time as a 24-year-old. Okay. Then, by April, Miss Harvey had killed her girlfriend, who had been scheduled to appear before a grand jury considering the case. Miss Harvey shot her point blank in their crowded Manhattan apartment, chased her as she staggered through the kitchen and living room, and shot her twice more before she collapsed. Found guilty of first-degree murder, sentenced to life. Yeah, just... In prison, Miss Harvey had sent inappropriate letters to candy stripper hospital volunteers. And then Miss Harvey says, "That is all in the past, and when I became aware that this pattern was creating, I cut it loose." Apparently you fucking didn't. Okay, so this Miss Harvey person, by the way, is insane and is not a woman in any way. Not even like in a trans way. This person's not a woman. This person's fucking nuts, all right? This dude is entirely fucked, all right? And it seems like her issues or his issues, they're not the normal trans experience. Okay? I just want to point out, this person's terrible, but like, this is not what most trans people are, guys. Oh. Was it Candy Striper? I read stripper. Sorry. It sounds like being trans just a reason to get out early. Yeah, that's what it sounds like for sure. Yeah. Oh, so now it's okay. Yes. So Tidge, here's the thing, all right? Misgendering is okay if you think the person doesn't actually have dysphoria, they're just like faking it, or they have some other fucked up thing. All right? Dysphoria is what makes the trans experience legitimate. If you don't have dysphoria, you're not trans. If you're not trans, then you're not a trans woman. All right? Lilith's experience is very different from Miss Harvey's experience here, for example. Okay? Oh, dude, I am a pure trans medicalist, all right? The self-ID view of being trans is complete fucking bullshit. Complete bullshit, all right? You need to have gender dysphoria in order for your trans status to be valid. And if it's a valid trans status, I'll respect it because I'm a nice guy. Not because I believe that your biology has magically changed, but because I'm a polite person. But, for example, I don't respect Chris Chan. Chris Chan's a guy. Chris Chan social contagioned himself into retardation, okay? Yeah. Which is why, by the way, I believe Lilith, I believe Taftaj, because their experiences are one of having persistent gender dysphoria for their entire lives. There are some people on Twitter who are like, who are like, I'm a she, they, non-binary trans person because I'm a woman who likes to wear jeans, and that's not part of the normal feminine construct. It's like, you're just a girl. You're not trans at all. You're not actually trans. I'm not going to respect you. You're just a woman. Fuck off. All right? Non-binary people aren't trans. No. Oh, no, here's the thing. So Keffals seems to actually be trans, all right? There's actual gender dysphoria there. Keffals is actually a case of somebody who's actually trans. Keffals' issue is that, separate from her being trans, she's also a fucking psychopath. The argument was about your channel being yeeted, but fair enough. Okay, yeah, so regarding the channel yeeting thing, like, there is a level of that where it's like, yeah, my channel might get yeeted if you misgender too much. But at the same time, like, there's only so far that logic can take you, right? Like, I'm not going to say something that I know is blatantly untrue. It seems to be the case that Keffals has real gender dysphoria, and so I'll respect it. It seems to be the case that Miss Harvey, the problem here isn't gender dysphoria, so I'm not going to respect it, all right? And if that gets my channel taken down, that sucks, but fine. At least it's my choice. At least I'm the one who's choosing where the line is, and I think this is a reasonable place to put the line. Anyway. This person's insane. A gunshot was fired at a home where Republican congressional candidates' children were sleeping. Oh my fucking God, dude. Authorities are investigating a shooting last month at the home of former Green Beret and Republican candidate for Congress Pat Harrigan's parents. According to WBT News, the FBI is now involved. Jesus. The FBI is investigating a shooting at Republican congressional candidate Pat Harrigan's home in October. His children were inside the house at the time, and feet from the shooting. He is running against Democrat Jeff Jackson in District 14. More to come. Neither Harrigan nor the children were in the house at the time of the shooting, and according to the Daily Mail, have since been relocated out of state. As of Thursday, there have not yet been any arrests. Harrigan is running against Democratic State Senator Jeff Jackson in the state's 14th congressional district, and said in a statement issued Thursday that his opponent's politics have led to rising inflation, economic ruin, and rampant crime, including political violence. Jesus Christ! This is fucking insane. All right? Where's the line, Dev? Well, obviously the line is here, right? Hopefully, the FBI finds out who the fuck did this and throws the book at them. All right? Like, obviously, political violence is the line on any side. This is too much. This is too far. This needs to be fucking stopped. Like, this is fucking nuts, man. It's too much. Things are too crazy now. You know? Too many rioters. Too many insurrectionists. There actually are some, at least a few. All right? Too many violent protesters. Too many shootings. Too many murders. All right? Too many attempted murders. Too much street violence. It's too much. Things are getting fucked, and it's got to stop. All right? And yeah, like, sometimes the left does it, sometimes the right does it, but it's bad no matter who does it. It's bad no matter who does it. This time, it's the left doing it. So they're fucking insane. Jeez. What happens when it's the FBI doing the shooting of political... Okay, come on. You gotta prove that. Hold on. Open warfare between the extreme left and extreme right. Let's fucking go. Okay, let's continue. Yes, both sides, Lord Tennyson, you fucking black-pilled partisan cuck. Yes! Yes, both sides. There is also rightist violence, you fuck. Don't pretend otherwise. Christ. Okay. The left doesn't more. Jesus Christ. Do you want to pull up? Do you want me to pull up those stats where like rightist violence was actually more prevalent by some metrics in some locations? Like, no one has a monopoly on bad behavior, okay? No one has a monopoly on bad behavior. Loud noises. The right side is the good side, though. Not if you're committing political violence. No, you're not. The violence is nearly entirely left-wing. Oh my god. Copium. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Alright. Alright. Oh, fuck you. Why are you behind a paywall now? Is it at least in the abstract? Okay, here we go. It's at least in the abstract, so we can talk about this, okay? Let me pull it up. All right? Here we go. Okay. A comparison of political violence by left-wing, right-wing, and Islamists in the United States and in the world. Okay. Let's read the abstract, since I can't access the rest of it. This article used to be, like, free and available, and I saw the data, like before, but now it's just locked up, probably because it's gone past its prime. But okay, all right. Let's see. Across both data sets, United States and the world, we find that radical acts perpetrated by individuals associated with left-wing causes are less likely to be violent. In the United States, we find no difference between the level of violence perpetrated by right-wing and Islamist extremists. However, differences in violence emerge on the global level, with Islamist extremists being more likely than right-wing extremists to engage in more violent acts. So, there we go. There we go. I don't get what the complaint is. Yes, rightists commit violence. Stop coping and being like, our side would never do that, guys. No, there's a reason I'm not a leftist and I'm not a rightist. Because I'm not interested in any of this fucking nonsense. All right. All right. Name 5 that have happened in the... Oh my god. Okay. Okay. If you guys actually want, I will access the raw data and do a full video breakdown of the entire thing if you like. Okay. I considered doing it like a year ago, and then I kind of like lost interest in the project, but I could actually revive it and do it. Okay. We could go through every instance because, so for example, in one study that I read, they said there's a lot of libertarian violence. I'm like, libertarian violence? What do you mean libertarian violence? So I looked it up, and I was sifting through some of the data, and one guy in the list that I randomly picked out, He was a libertarian who killed his mother, okay? He killed his mother, and he went to jail for like 20 years. And he was politically libertarian. But his feud with his mother had nothing to do with his libertarianism. And I was like, why is this included in the list? This doesn't seem to make any sense, right? So I was going through this list, and I was like, well, some of these things seem to be maybe not appropriately placed on this list. So I was considering going through the entire data set and seeing what each case was, even though that would be several thousand cases, right? However, there is absolutely right-wing protest violence, and there is absolutely left-wing protest violence, and perhaps we should not be supporting either of it. Okay? Okay. Yeah. And that's why I'm not on the left and I'm not on the right. I'm not either, because it's a bit much. Veritasium did it. Did Veritasium do like a left-wing, right-wing violence video? Really? Veritasium is usually pretty solid in his research. Let us take a look. Hold on. Veritasium. Hold on. I don't see the video. Huh. Tidge, that's going to be the spotlighting effect. Oh, hey, Goddess Valkyrie. Listen, Valkyrie, DM me. DM me. DM me. DM me, Valkyrie. Do it. Do it. Okay, listen. Tidge says, of course we don't support it. It just seems to be coming from mostly the left recently. So that is what is called the spotlight effect, all right? So here's the issue, for example, with Libs of TikTok, all right? Everything Libs of TikTok shows off is true, but they're very clearly showing off only leftist pedophiles, right? Only leftist groomers. If you were to send Libs of TikTok a video of, like, a priest having sex with a child, and be like, look at this shit, holy fuck! The right is okay with this! They would not publish it. They would not. If you were to send them a video of, like, a conservative saying it is, in fact, completely fine and within God's will for us to fuck children, Libs of TikTok would not publish this video, okay? The point that I'm getting at is that Libs of TikTok is correct, but is partisan. And also, even if every single post of that Libs of TikTok has ever made is an individual instance, America is 330 million people. You're still getting like 0.0001% of the population with all of Libs of TikTok's posts. So what's going on here is the spotlight effect. Because Libs of TikTok focuses on one specific issue, it makes that issue seem a lot more prevalent than it actually is. It's a real issue, but this idea that every leftist is a groomer is just not true. That every gay person is a groomer, every trans person is a groomer, is not true. Is not true at all. You can still find weird pedophilic shit on the right. And if you had some kind of inverse Libs of TikTok that was only posting the Deep South's weird pedophilic shit, you'd be, oh my god, the entire right wing. All the conservatives are kitty diddlers. And you know what? That's what a lot of leftists think. And they are just as wrong. They're just as wrong. Because they are only seeing the worst elements of that entire wing of politics. And it's the same with Libs of TikTok. It's the exact same. It's the exact same. Majority of them are groomers? No. Like, last time, majority of them are groomers. You got to prove that, all right? How many gay people are there out there? Prove that majority of them are groomers. You can't. And the majority of them are not, all right? The majority of them are not. Hold on. That's a straw man who is legit saying that every blank is a blank. Scroll up 10 messages. It's right fucking there, dude. It's right fucking there. It's right fucking there. All right. Jesus Christ. Okay. It's so much fun when devs are talking with chat, yeah. Dev, for the love of shit, please show where the right agrees with the pedophile priest. I'm going to assume that every single right-winger in the chat does not agree with the pedophile priest. Obviously, right? All you guys, you are not that part of the right. But you cannot say that there is not, say, another contingent, another wing of the right wing that exists in a different place, not in my community, that is very much like a we're doing marriage and sex the way God intended, and that means that men have dominion over all women and girls, and we're just gonna start fucking them. Because you definitely see that. You definitely fucking see that. You can't say that you don't. It's not you guys. You guys aren't those rightoids. It's a different kind of rightoid. Chad, I love you guys. Chad, I love you guys. Since when are Catholics right wing? Okay. All right, we got to move on. Jesus. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Here's something spicy as well, okay? Tavistock Transgender Clinic could face mass legal action from 1,000 families of children who claim they were rushed into taking life-altering puberty blockers weeks after the NHS shut it down in the wake of a damning report. Oh my God. Thousands of young people were treated by the Tavistock Centre in North London, and in many cases were prescribed powerful drugs to delay the onset of adolescence. But now the NHS has ordered it to be shut down in the wake of a damning report that found teenagers were suffering because they were being forced to wait for treatment. The expert carrying out the review also warned of potentially serious side effects of puberty blocker drugs. Okay, so they're finally coming around to the position that we have been at for the last little bit now, where transitioning is not just some fun thing that anyone can do, but it should be, let's say, gate kept more firmly than it is in the West. You know, I know Lilith has her story about having an overly gatekeepy experience in Taiwan, but I keep reminding her that was Taiwan. That was not America. That was not the UK. That was not Canada. And things are different in these institutions, in these places. And maybe we need more gatekeeping in the West. So, Dr. Hilary Cass told NHS England there is no way of knowing if the medication may disrupt the process of children deciding on their gender identity rather than buying time for them. This is important because Sitch recently posted a study on Twitter where it was something like between 50% and 88% of prepubescent children with gender dysphoria discover that if they don't go on blockers, they actually grow out of gender dysphoria. So a maximum high of 88% will grow out of it if they don't go on blockers. So 12% won't. And so those 12% probably do need to transition. Maybe. I don't know. It's possible. But 88% does. So maybe this idea of just put them on blockers is not a good idea. Fuck. Okay. She raised concerns that the drugs interrupt the process of the brain maturing, affecting children's ability to exercise judgment. Imagine if that's the case, that your brain doesn't fully mature because you're on puberty blockers. And then you reach 25 and your brain stops maturing and you're just stuck as an infant or like as a teenager for the rest of your life in terms of the maturity of your brain. Holy fuck, that would be disastrous. Damn. I'm gonna need to do some kind of like detransition video because there's something going on here that needs to be discussed, and it has to be discussed outside of the whole like, if you talk about it, you're transphobic, and that's all there is to it. That's gotta fucking go. Fuck. So judges initially ruled that under 16s could not consent to treatment, but that ruling was overturned on appeal. And now we have seen some of the downfalls of that judgment. Already in the USA, there are class lawsuits being taken by parents of children prescribed puberty blockers. It is only a matter of time until we see similar action on our shores. So I did that one thing a few times now where I use Chloe's diagrams on how the chems work and why, if you're going to transition, you shouldn't take puberty blockers, you should just take HRT. Yeah. And that might be a video that's good to like formalize. Maybe I'll see if Chloe can like come on and actually do it properly, you know, because she knows a lot about the DIY HRT scene. Different Chloe than Bob Posting, by the way. Gender dysphoria is a mental health condition and should be treated as such, through explorative therapy rather than irreversible medication and surgery. Yeah, like the medication and surgery might be necessary for some people, but probably not for most. Far too many children have been left with physical and emotional scars from decisions we should never have let them make. Completely agreed. Completely agreed. Let's see. Anyway, this is just more about the lawsuit, and the lawsuit is ongoing, so I guess we will see what's going on here with this as things continue. A high-profile court case was previously brought against Tavistock by Kira Bell, who transitioned after being prescribed puberty blockers but later regretted it. Damn. All right. Indiana men thwart robbery attempt by beating and holding the suspect at gunpoint. Oh my god. This is our headliner today, guys. Look at this guy. He got the shit kicked out of him. Police in Indiana say a group of apartment residents thwarted an armed robbery attempt by beating the suspect and holding him at bay with one of their own guns. Wow. The incident occurred shortly before 3:30 a.m. at a home on Washington Street in Kokomo. Kokomo police arrived to find 3 men detaining a suspect, later identified as Merrill B. Tyler of Maryville, 18 years old. One of the residents was pointing a gun at the suspect. The residents informed officers that the detained unknown male had entered their apartment wearing a ski mask and pointing a handgun at them. The residents grabbed the suspect and began struggling with him until the gun was knocked away. The suspect then tried to pull out a second handgun, which discharged without hitting anyone. One of the residents retrieved his own handgun and held the suspect at gunpoint until the police arrived. As a result of the struggle with the suspect received multiple facial injuries. And yeah, he got like fucking demolished. Look at it, like his face got fucking rearranged. Jesus. They just kicked the shit out of him. God damn. Holy fuck. Wild. All right, guys. This is the midway of the articles. I will take a short break just to look at the super chats. A few more came in, so thank you very much. I'll read them right now, answer some questions, do whatever, and then we'll continue with the articles, okay? Okay, friends? Let's see what we got going on here. Let's see. Scrolling down. Okay. Terras for $5. All of these live-action Avatar adaptations are funded by Cameron because he couldn't trademark Avatar. That's funny, actually. Maybe. I mean, probably not, but maybe. Tommy Tampons, $20. Thank you very much. I also feel bad for chicks in the future. Large investors are targeting single women without kids over 30 because of their marketing predictions. Plus, I hear more and more dudes saying date outside of America. Thoughts? Oh yeah, the millennial women are going to be fucked, dude. Like, I'm dating a Zoomer for that reason. I'm dating like a based Zoomer. A based Joomer, all right? She was an SJW when I met her, and now she's a trad wife. So, honestly, it's going to be rough. You know, the next 10 years for a lot of those single millennial women, you know, they're not going to be getting dates on Tinder anymore. They're not going to be having sex. Their careers are going to bottom out. Either they're going to become hyper focused on their careers. And I think a minority of women are actually built for that. They're going to be like more masculine in their temperament. So they're going to be like happy with just having a career. So good for them. But the majority of them, they're going to be fucked. They're going to be like wondering, like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my time? Oh, you're supposed to find a partner and have a life. All right. Maybe you have kids. Maybe you adopt kids. Maybe you don't even want kids. You just want like a long-term romantic partner. You got to have something outside of work, though. You got to have some kind of like, to have a good life. Generally, you need a stable job, a group of friends and family, a romantic partner, children, like a home that you can call your own, that is private, away from the rest of the world, and hobbies that give you fulfillment, things you can do outside of work. Now, you don't need all of those things. You can cut out maybe one of those things and be okay, but you need most of them. All right. You know, I don't agree with Sargon's dadism entirely. You can, if you have everything else and you just don't want kids and you're not cut out to have kids, you can still have a meaningful, fulfilled life. But you have to tick off all those other boxes. All right. You need work that you find meaningful, relaxation that you find meaningful, a private home, a private life, friends and family, a partner. You can't go. You can go without one of those things, but you can't go without all of them. You know. And I think a lot of millennial women are gonna find they're gonna find that lesson out the hard way, and it's not gonna be very fun for them. Meanwhile, millennial men are just dating Zoomer women, so that's how it is. Fuck. But thank you for the $20. The Shambler, $5. On the art stream, my chat about your knowledge of objectivism as a philosophy was skimmed for time. Would you care to make your thoughts known? Not today, because the stream's already gone on longer than it should have. One day, though, I'll talk about objectivism for sure. Yeah. Rock of Video Synth, $2. Keffels is over party. Yes. Emperor Creatine, $2. Keffels is sounding like Sarkeesian right now. Keffels is leaving the same way that Sarkeesian is leaving. Artemis Fowl, $2. Reminds me of Destiny suing Aiden Paladin. Wait, did Destiny sue Aiden Paladin? Is that like a thing, Artemis? Hold on. I still have Artemis' DM open. Is Destiny suing Aiden? Spencer, $2. No rock for you now for subjecting me to this. Understood. JReal3. 313, $10. If she can't get another girl pregnant while she's pregnant, comma, what? What's the rest of that sentence? If she can't get another girl pregnant while she's pregnant, what do you mean? Are you talking about like pregnant fudas? Insensitive, $5. You know what's funnier than doing fart porn? Faking the farts. Did Keffels fake the farts? Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? Sig Earther, $5. If you ever need to stop people from misgendering in chat, you can just threaten to play the Keffels fart porn. Good idea. Loose for the Doberman, $5. I love when chat triggers dev. It's always fun. Joseph Art Sader, $5. When I made that Bridget comic, I never once said that the trans community are groomers, just that his retcon story is grooming. His retcon story is grooming, which is what makes it fucking hilarious. It's ridiculous. The Geth, $5. You are cucked on the violence issue, but both you and the chat don't know why, and I'm tired of both missing the point. I'll try to explain. Okay, Geth. Let's see Geth's amazing defense of violence. Okay, let's hear it. Okay. The Geth, $10. The left's violence problem isn't the black bloc itself. It's that moderate Dems secretly approve and mask it as ignorance. It's why they say it's a myth the right does it more. They secretly approve. Here's the thing. I think there are absolutely components of the right that secretly approve of rightist violence, you know? That's why a lot of people are like, yeah, it was good that we rioted in the Capitol, you know? We should use violence to take our country back, you know? You get those guys walking with tiki torches and stuff, you know? There's definitely a pro-violent streak on the right as well. The right is not, just like the left isn't, the right is not always the good boy who is just going to college, okay? That's not the case. I understand your point, though, is that there's definitely some secret approval of violence on the Democratic side. I understand the point. Yes, true. Spencer, $2. Join MSC. Find your Filipino wife. Based. Sargon Slammer, $2. I just got here. Are you and Sargon in the outs? No, we're still friends. What do you mean? Of course. What do you mean? Yeah, we are still friends. Yeah. Implying January 6th was violent? Yeah, Tidge. Did you watch that documentary of what was happening with some of the people in January 6th? So most of the January 6th rioters, they they opened the doors, they walked in, they wandered around, fucking one guy was like sniffing AOC's shoes. Lots of people were just walking around, right? Like lots of people were just meandering and they weren't really that violent. But there absolutely were a number of people who showed up with weapons and who showed up with like the zip ties, and they were the ones who were running into the Capitol, and they were like, we got to find these fucking senators, and they were like taking off. All right. And there's video of them running and trying to find people, and security guards like baiting them away as the senators slip out down a different corridor. I remember watching that video. That was like a security video. There's videos of the Capitol Police interviewing a band of young kids. Not kids. They were in their like early 20s. But like they had come to DC with weapons in a van, and they were like armed and ready to go. And like one of them had a taser, one of them had a pistol, and they were like these are guys who had plans. And it's like, shit. Not everyone was just like that homeless dude who stole Nancy Pelosi's fucking podium, all right? Some of them actually were like fucked. And it is good that they're having the legal book thrown at them. No, Tidge, we're having fun. It's okay. Tidge, it's okay. Okay. Anyway. Real Holtzner, $5. Dev, is it possible to commit political violence against animals? Animals? Probably not. I don't know what you mean by that necessarily. They didn't do anything, Dev. Yeah, because they got stopped. All right? Dude, infamy or death. The guys who were running down the hallways with zip ties and weapons looking for the senators, they didn't kidnap any senators. True. Because they were prevented from doing so. All right? Which is why it's attempted. And attempting and failing is still bad. Okay? Okay, the Geth, $5. It's why every Reddit soy boy spams NYT and Guardian articles about Antifa being a myth when you show them video. They aren't ignorant. They think it's okay. No, I agree with that, right? Like, there is this strange, the moderates more moderate people on the left, they run cover for the extremists, and that's like unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. No, the left needs to turn around and say, no, you guys have gone too far. This is too, see, that's why I respect people like Destiny or people like Stardust, these center lefty streamers, even Econo Boy, if I were to show Econo Boy that article of the shooting that happened at the Republican candidate's house, he would disavow instantly. Wouldn't even be an issue. That's why I respect him more than I respect some dumb fuck commie bread tuber who thinks that revolution against the state is required, okay? Because if you're looking for a component of the left that is willing to disavow their own radicals' violence, all right? Right now, that's like the Destiny and the Orbiters crowd. And Destiny and his Orbiters. That's like that crowd, okay? And for them, I can respect them. I don't think Stardust is really dim. I don't think Stardust is dim. I think Stardust is somebody who is not particularly suited to political philosophy specifically. It's like just not her wheelhouse, you know? But I do like her. She seems to be pretty bright, in my opinion. It's just that that's out of her element. I've enjoyed talking to her a few times. She's also kind of cute. There's always that, right? $5, Real Holtznader. If you cannot commit political violence against animals, then the right cannot commit political violence. Checkmate atheist. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Okay. $10 from the Geth. The right's violence streak came later, though. They played the Disavow game since 2016 and got to watch the left burn down the country. They're just adapting to the new meta. J6. You know, I agree, right? So that is one thing where I will completely agree with the right, is that the left set the rules of engagement all throughout Trump's presidency, and now the right is playing by those rules. But if you go back in time and watch my videos in 2016 and 2017, I said this already. I was like, listen, if you keep being violent like this, leftoids, it's going to come back around and it's not going to be good. And you need to fucking stop it right now. I did videos in 2016 and 2017 saying that stuff. All right. I did a video, I think, called The Escalating Meltdown of the Left, which was right after Trump won. And it was talking this exact talking point. And here we are. All right. Nostradamus has predicted 5-6 years later. Here we are. The thing that I said would come to pass has come to pass. All right. The right has taken up the new set of rules the left has put into place and is now also rioting. And things are worse for everyone. And it's bad. It's bad. And it shouldn't have happened. The left shouldn't be doing it and the right shouldn't be doing it. It's got to fucking stop. Turkey Tom did a thorough takedown video of Stardust. Safe to link it to me. I respect Stardust, but I also respect Turkey Tom, so I want to see. I want to see what's going on. I want to see. One final refresh, and then we'll get to the back to the articles. Televised, $10. Thank you. It's really pathetic that Dev can say straight-faced, right-wing has violence issues when 100% of the left media covers for like 2 years of rioting, school system plays cover for communist government abuse. So this is just whataboutism, all right? Because I will completely take your side when it comes to the leftist violence. You just don't like that I don't take your side when it comes to rightist violence. I can say both of them are bad. And so can you. Stop being a partisan cuck. Thank you for the $10, but they are a cucked $10. Artemis, you got to DM me with proof of that. Big Boss, $5. If you are interested in a first-hand person account of January 6th with photos and videos of it all, I can get in touch. I went there specifically to document it. Nice. Sure, Big Boss. Yeah. Yeah, man. Why not? Sounds good. Shall we continue? Thank you for the super chats, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Let's continue. Return to the guy that got his shit kicked in. What's next, though? Same-sex couple says they were attacked and blamed for monkeypox. Jesus. According to the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, 2 men were attacked on Sunday by people who blamed their community for spreading monkeypox. Police released photos Tuesday of 2 suspects and asked the public for help identifying them. So far, no one has been taken into custody. The men say they were attacked because they are gay, while walking home not far from the U Street corridor. Robert, who asked that his last name not be used, said the assault started with slurs in reference to monkeypox. Look at these monkeypox faggots, and look at these faggots, and stuff along those lines. Robert says that he and his partner tried to ignore the group of about 5 teen boys and 2 girls. Okay, so these are high schoolers fucking around. Okay. 5 teen boys and 2 teen girls. Okay. Kids are fucking around. Got it. After walking away for a bit, I realized they were following us. So I turned around to see what was going on, and one of them, sucker punched me, and then hit my partner, and then hit me again. That's fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous, all right? Like, obviously this shouldn't be happening. Robert was bruised, his partner was bloodied, and required a trip to the hospital and stitches. The boys took off. The 2 girls in the group tried to apologize, but also left before the police arrived. We must stand up for our friends and neighbors, especially right now when there is too much anti-LGBTQ plus rhetoric sweeping our nation. Okay. Well, you should not be attacking random fucking gay people in the street. Like, calm the fuck on, all right? These kids should probably have the book thrown at them, because this is nuts, all right? This is nuts. This shouldn't be happening. This is too much. At the same time, it is also a bit easier to forgive them because they are kids. They're still like being dumb little shits. So it's like, I didn't punch anybody when I was a fucking teenager. At least not like I did it in self-defense, but you know what I mean. But like I definitely told a few edgy jokes in my time. You know what I mean? Teen boys trying to show off for girls, color me surprised. Why does Dev love the government? Hey, Friended. Wait, is that the real Friended? Because the Adam Friended I know is a big old government cuck. So why would he be asking that question? If that's actually you, hey, buddy. Let's continue. Speaking of degeneracy, the rise in popularity of anal sex has led to health problems for women. Jesus. Incontinence, bleeding, and STIs are among the consequences, say 2 surgeons. Too much anal, guys. Too much anal. Women in the UK are suffering injuries and other health problems as a result of the growing popularity of anal sex. Among straight couples, the NHS has warned. Tidge, this is your fault. Tidge, this is your fault. The consequences include incontinence and sexually transmitted infections, STIs, as well as pain and bleeding because they have experienced bodily trauma while engaging in the practice. Well, Friended, if that's actually you, send me a DM on Discord or Twitter, and I'll mod you in the chat, okay? I'll give you a wrench. I'll give you a wrench, buddy. Practice safe anal, you morons. I mean, pretty much, right? Like, I think anal can be safe. You just got to use, like, lube and build yourself up to that size, right? You can't just ram it in like it's a fucking porn. Jesus. Okay. Doctors' reluctance to discuss the risks associated with anal sex has been leading to women being harmed by the practice and letting down a generation of women who are not aware of potential problems. In the journal, they say that anal intercourse is considered a risky sexual behavior because of its association with alcohol, drug use, and multiple sex partners. However, within popular culture, it has moved from the world of pornography to mainstream media. And TV shows including Sex and the City and Fleabag may have contributed to the trend by making it seem racy and daring. However, women who engage in anal sex are at greater risk from it than men. Increased rates of fecal incontinence and anal sphincter injury have been reported in women who have anal intercourse. Women are at a higher risk. Women are at a higher risk. Jesus Christ, hold on. Artemis is sending me more DMs. I gotta take us away from Discord for a minute. Okay. Friend had left. I guess it wasn't really him. Shit. No DM. Women are at higher risk of incontinence than men because of their different anatomy and the effects of hormones, pregnancy, and childbirth on the pelvic floor. Women have less robust anal sphincters and lower anal canal pressures than men, and damage caused by anal penetration is therefore more consequential. Jesus. The pain and bleeding women report after anal sex is indicative of trauma, and risks may be increased if anal sex is coerced. Damn. No more anal, guys. No more anal. And then they eat the poo-poo. I can't find your stupid new account. It's called Morbius Devo. It's literally pinned at the top of the chat. Morbius Devo. Or also Discord. Oh, there we go. Is that you? In Discord? Yo, it's me. Okay. It sounds like it's you. There we go. This story is gross. Yeah, I know, dude. So here's one thing that I've noticed, okay? When it comes to anal. I've heard that humans have longer rectums than most other animals per size, okay? And it may be an evolutionary adaptation because humans kept butt fucking each other and dying. So we evolved to have longer rectums to avoid traumatic death from getting fucked in the butt. Oh, look, it's a porn bot. Right on time. So it may be the case that we have evolutionarily adapted to anal sex. Who knows? Maybe. Well, I mean, it seems to be the case that one of the evolutionary reasons for bisexuality is so that there's a higher chance of reproduction, right? Because if you're in prehistory and you're fucking everything that moves, it's more likely that some of those sperms might fertilize something. If you like encounter, let's say, a particularly masculine looking woman, and you're like, I'm just gonna fuck that. I don't care how masculine it looks, right? And so you have a bleed over effect of like people who were more choosy with their sexuality reproduce less. People who were less choosy with their sexuality reproduce more, which basically allowed for bisexuality to like bisexual behaviors to creep into the genome. That's a possibility, right? It's a possibility. I don't know how true that is. Just a hypothesis, you know. Now it's just because of femboys. Explains the love for tomboys, I guess. Yeah, absolutely, right. And then I just think that like that might like there's a saying, okay? There's a saying. This may not be true. It's one thing to consider. It's one possibility. There's a saying that I like to live by, and I'm going to share it with you guys. You guys are all my friends here, okay? The saying is, be careful what you cleverly rationalize. Okay? Because you can invent very comprehensive, very logically solid reasons for why something is true and still be completely wrong. You know? So be careful what you cleverly rationalize. So I'm not saying this is the truth. I'm saying that this might be the case. It's a possibility. Don't discount it, but who knows, right? We can figure it out. Yeah. The source for the saying? I don't recall exactly who said it first, but it is a good saying. Let me look it up. Be careful what you cleverly rationalize. Oh, the saying's not even sourced on Google. I recall hearing it somewhere, but I don't recall. You take that advice yourself, bro? Everyone should take that advice. And I do so quite a bit. I do my best. Let's see. What is this one? What's next? Oh, yeah. This is a nursing book that was released in 2015. Check this out. All right. Focus on diversity and culture. Can I make this bigger? Yeah. Focus on diversity and culture. Cultural differences in response to pain. All right. So, Arabs and Muslims, they may not request pain medicine, but instead thank Allah for pain if it is a result of a healing medical procedure. Pain is a test of faith. Arabs and Muslims prefer to be with family when in pain. Asians, Chinese clients may not ask for medication because they do not want to take the nurse away from a more important task. Clients from Asian cultures often value stoicism as a response to pain, etc., etc. Blacks report higher pain intensity than other cultures. They believe suffering and pain are inevitable. They believe in prayer and laying on of hands to heal pain. The Jews may be vocal and demanding of assistance. They believe that pain must be shared and validated. Hispanics may believe that pain is a form of punishment and that suffering must be endured if they are to enter heaven. They vary widely in their expression of pain. Catholic Hispanics turn to religious practices. Native Americans prefer to receive medications blessed by a tribal shaman. They tend to be less expressive, both verbally and non-verbally. They usually tolerate a high level of pain. They may pick a sacred number when asked to rate pain on a numerical pain scale. So yeah, firstly, no category for whites. All right? Secondly, I love how the hyper-inclusive, focus on exclusively on care harm nature of a universal healthcare system like the NHS has just reverted back to like old style racism where each race has like different checkmark boxes in different attributes like D&D style. Oh, it's so fucking ridiculous. All right? Holy shit. Modern diversity is just the new racism. Yes. Yes, that does seem to be the case. Yeah, that does seem to be the new case, guys. That modern diversity is just the new racism. This is from 2015, so it's like 7 years old. Okay. This American blogger was showing an unseen Pakistan. Then she was gang raped. Wow. The audacious assault of an American woman in Pakistan is disrupting a narrative created by Western influencers that the country is safe for women. Arabella Arpey, a 21-year-old American-German student at Duke University, North Carolina, describes her first visit to Pakistan as a romantic encounter, anticipation, exploration, and finally love. I came here in 2019 to visit my fiance's family who live in Lahore. Traveling to Pakistan was unlike any other destination where everything is catered to tourists. In Pakistan, people follow their own traditions, wear their traditional clothes, and eat their traditional food. It's culturally vivid. Wow. She was also aware of Pakistan's image in popular culture, with news of security concerns and being listed among the world's most unsafe countries. But Arpey, with an Instagram following of more than 23,000 and a prolific travel blog, saw a chance to go off the beaten path, mostly solo, in areas foreigners can't easily access. She also followed Western female influencers who posted about traveling in Pakistan with comfort, safety, and privileged access. Wow. Jesus fucking Christ. Why would you do this? On July 17th, while visiting the city of Dera Ghazi Khan in Pakistan's Punjab province, Arpey said she was threatened, extorted, and then brutally gang raped by two men she had befriended during her previous travels, one of whom filmed the act and threatened to leak it. A case of rape and filming obscene acts was registered by the Border Military Police on July 19th. Arpy also said she was misled to believe she had permission to stay in the city, which has a history of militancy and usually isn't included in the cities tourists can visit with their visas. A trial is underway with one of the accused still at large. This is one of the accused who's been locked up. Wow. Man, maybe you should not be going off trail in Pakistan, guys. Perhaps this is not the way. Does it count as gang if it's 2 guys? Typically, I always imagine gang to be 3+. Zatak, I think most people imagine gang to be 3+, because if you watch like a gangbang porn, it's usually all 3 holes getting filled. So, like, getting double teamed is not a gangbang, you know? Yeah. But yeah, don't go to no-go zones. Do not go to fucking no-go zones, you morons. Silent Hill 2. The biggest mistakes the remake must avoid. So, Silent Hill 2 is one of those beloved games. You know? Everyone loves Silent Hill 2. It's getting a remake. It's going to be shit, because all modern things are shit. My type of gangbang involves 2 cocks in each hole. Jesus Christ, Dragonfat. I don't know, it's pretty gay to have your cock rubbing against somebody else's cock, you know? That's pretty gay. The remake for Silent Hill 2 is being developed by Bloober Team, and there are several mistakes present in the studio's game, The Medium, that should be avoided. With the original Silent Hill 2 being a classic horror game, inspiring other titles even decades after its initial release, there is plenty of excitement to see it come back in a modernized version. But plenty of fear that the remake won't be as good as the 2001 game. The Medium, which was inspired by the Silent Hill franchise, shined in its aesthetic. Okay, I don't care about The Medium. All right. So, Silent Hill 2 Remake must have a comprehensive content warning. Oh my god. Guys, you gotta have a trigger warning on your game, or else it's not going to be good. What? now, to be fair, I did like a little back and forth on Twitter with Sophia Narwitz on this morning, because she said this was ridiculous, and it is pretty ridiculous. Like, trigger warning, Silent Hill 2. However, to the credit of this position, these were the content warnings in the old games. Look at these. These are fucking awesome. Can I zoom in more? Look at this. This is from Resident Evil 2, 1998. This game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore. This sets the fucking stage for the game. Like, this is like, oh shit, this is the first thing you see when you turn the game on? I want to play this game, you know? Like, Silent Hill, 1999. Same thing. There are violent and disturbing images in this game. Awesome. You know? 2002 remake of Resident Evil. Warning, this game contains strong language and scenes of explicit violence and gore. Great. Excellent. All right? Silent Hill 3. Some parts of this game may be considered violent or cruel. Yes. So, one thing that I've come to realize is that I actually really, really like trigger warnings. Unironically, I like trigger warnings, okay? Because if someone says trigger warning, this person is problematic, I'm like, great. I want to see what he's all about. I want to go right the fuck in, all right? I still have Shinigami eyes on my Brave browser because I follow every single person labeled as transphobic. All right? Things are more interesting when you are warned about them. Like, you guys recall like CDs back in the 90s and 2000s, rap CDs with explicit lyrics, and it has like those content labels on them that the American government forced to be on there. And suddenly, Jesus. And then suddenly everyone wanted that label on their CD because it became like a status symbol. It's like, oh, you're the edgy one. You have the warning, you know? At some point, there was a switch around where the warnings, for some reason, probably because of like leftist activists, the warnings became something to be dodged rather than embraced. And it's like, I'm like, no, give me the edgy stuff. Yeah. All right? It's like, this person is problematic. Great. I'll follow them. This person's a transphobe. Sounds like someone I should listen to. Because maybe there's some nugget of truth in there that's being ignored by the mainline establishment. All right? Like, there is value in listening to the outsider. And if you value that outsider status, then you want to have this sort of stuff. You know what I mean? A trigger warning is a fun alert. But yeah, man, like, sure, put on the craziest fucking, like, this game is highly problematic and it's full of so much, like, so it's like, yes, give it to me. Give me all the problematic stuff. Give it to me. I want to see it. Let's continue. Guilty Gear creator claims that he always intended for Bridget to be transgender. The general direction of her story hasn't changed since she first appeared. So, good old Daisuke Ishiwatari has completely cucked out, and your femboy has always been trans now, guys. That's it. That's it. Despite the years of conflicting evidence, he has always intended for the series' yo-yo-wielding mainstay Bridget to be transgender. Yep. Ishiwatari offered this insight during a joint interview given alongside the Strive director, Akira Kitano, to Japanese news outlet TBS News Dig. All right. Let's see. Speaking specifically to the topic of Bridget's recent reveal, Ishiwatari explained that, like all his characters, the bounty hunter's creation stemmed from his desire to do something different. As long as I'm not feeling a strong sense of, I want to make something exactly like that, even if it's something maybe I've seen somewhere before, I think it should have something different about its identity, is my way of thinking. I really felt like that part of the character was important. And so I would purposefully not write it in character introductions, and not really touch on it, while at the same time continuing to make use of that element. The truth is, some of the characters that appear, I expressly tried to create characters that were a minority in some way, because I wanted to make heroes for those kinds of people. At the time, there was pushback, but now we're able to be very public about it, and have it greeted happily instead. So this logic seems to be that in 2000s Japan, you couldn't have an openly trans character, but you could have a femboy character. So, if we have a trans person in the closet, we'll just make him a femboy. That seems to be his logic. I mean, I'll fuck her either way. I don't care. But for some people, they're quite angry about it. Regarding Bridget's gender at the time she first appeared, at this point in the story, she's thinking she doesn't want to worry the people around her or cause problems. I think at that point in time, he said, Bridget herself was trying her absolute hardest to not think things like, maybe I actually am a girl. Turning to Bridget's new Strive look, which TBS News Dig reports was designed to hide the width of her shoulders and the size of her arms, the back of her hands, and her Adam's apple, Ishiwatari revealed that the element of her updated design he was most attentive to was the transgender symbol on her head. That was originally a male symbol, he explained. I had a clear intention when changing that, so that was something I was especially particular about. Now, it turns out that this symbol is actually the androgynous symbol, not the trans symbol. But still, I get the point. I get the point. And there's Bridget. There's Bridget from 2008, the 2008 game. Now listen, all of you straight guys out there, don't lie. You fucking would do it. Don't lie. Don't lie. Look. Don't lie, guys. You would go after the pussy, no problem. All right? I love trolling chat. Okay. Anyway. On this note of the importance of Bridget's habit symbol, the TBS Newsdig interviewer inquired as to when Ishiwatari had conceptualized this end to her story, prompting him to affirm, yeah, remember, everyone was gay for Bridget. Absolutely. The general direction for the end of her story was already decided when she first appeared, and it hasn't changed since. I don't know if it had such an important meaning as it does now, but Bridget's story, on a structural level, it's not super dramatic, but I had most of the content decided already. So, Ishiwatari, good old Daisuke, he's here saying that he always intended for Bridget to end up being a girl. To end up, like, Bridget's initial story, in the first time Bridget showed up, was like, I look like a girl, and everyone calls me a girl because I look like a girl, but I'm not a girl, I'm a guy. And it's kind of annoying that everyone calls me a girl because I look like a girl, but I'm not one. So stop treating me like a girl. That was the Bridget story. And now he's saying he always intended for her to come around and be like, I guess I am a girl. That was always his intention. I mean, maybe. It's possible, but who the fuck knows? Either way, it sounds kind of ridiculous. So, awareness of transgender people is much more prevalent now, and so in a way, it's like the times have finally caught up with the story you wrote for Bridget all those years ago. That's a much cooler way to say it, but I had a strong feeling of now being the time when I can finally properly express this. Every single character has details, and the story that Ishiwatari came up with in advance, and for a lot of those, it's just a matter of we hadn't decided to use them yet. With Bridget, it's really just that. So they're saying that this is something that they've always had planned, and they just haven't found the right time to tell the story. I don't know about this. That sounds like it's copium. That sounds like it's copium. That sounds like it's copium, to be honest. And they're just repeating it now. Like, they're repeating the same thing here. Like, we had Bridget's story in the game. We didn't want to play the game and find out. But just saying that invites an irresponsible. Yeah, okay. So, and they're basically saying, listen, we're sorry that it was that we didn't tell you right away. But yeah, Bridget's a girl. That's how it is. Bridget's a girl. Bridget's a girl. Bridget's a girl. Bridget's trans. Bridget's trans. So officially, Bridget is now trans. Okay. Rings of Power cast members talk emerging from the racist backlash. These characters are undeniable. We felt a lot of love. They're undeniably fucking bad. Dude, this show sucked, and it had nothing to do with racism. The Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power cast members, these 3 black people, they made the trek Sunday to Lucca Comics and Games, a unique event dedicated to pop culture, cosplay, and comics, held in the medieval Tuscan town of Lucca. In an interview with Variety, the three actors of color spoke about the racist backlash to their casting as major characters in the Prime Video show. There's been a bit of an apology, a bit of silence, but an undeniable shift. Oh my God, guys, an undeniable shift. People think the show is awful. It's pretty undeniable. Okay. I'm excited when I see the level of creativity and passion. All of these different films and television shows and books and comic books and manga. Just the time that people take to literally craft these costumes from what they have at home. It brings you back to something very innocent and pure and non-judgmental. When people come to these events, it's about finding their community, feeling a little less alone, a little less weird. Since what we're doing can be challenging sometimes, it's a good reminder of why we are doing what we're doing, to be part of this larger storytelling environment. How many of you guys in the chat actually watched my watch party video series with Lilith and Kibbs and Arch and Taftaj? How many of you watched that? Because holy fuck, that show sucked. Okay, let's see. The inclusion of people of color in the cast of The Rings of Power sparked a racist backlash online. The fact that attention was shifted towards that shows you what the power of shows like this is. The fact that it hit a nerve, and that our being in it creates such a response, just brings attention to the greatness of fantasy, the greatness of Lord of the Rings, and why it's actually good that we're here. Did it become too much? Absolutely. Nope. No, I loved it. I did. Nope. No, I tried but gave up. Those of you who didn't watch it, you got to watch them. You got to watch them. They're fun. They're good. It was great. Watch them. Join in. Okay. Anyway, they're all just saying that it's yes, it was racist, but it shows how important it is for them to be there. It shows how important it is that they are represented. In order to not have such an impact, the pendulum has to swing. We are right in the middle of that process. We just want to normalize. We have to discuss it because we are now in a space in society where we need to, now and again, acknowledge exactly what's happening. That level of distraction and aggression that was put towards us. It's been a painful journey to get here, but it's elevated us. It put us in a position where there will be a plaque one day when the pendulum has swung to where it needs to be. A plaque. There's going to be a plaque on how you guys were all black in Lord of the Rings. Where's this plaque going to be? In the fucking dumpster? You will have badges upon the people who fought the great fight in order to get to a point where there isn't such an eruption based solely on that. The badges that you'll have to wear. The badges. Maybe they'll be like armbands. Maybe they'll be armbands, guys. Rainbow swastikas, guys. Do you really want to go over this whole fucking thing? Oh my god. It's a lot of them just like fluffing themselves. I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit. Oh, in the same way, guess what? House of the Dragon star Emma D'Arcy makes GQ's Men of the Year list. What? Okay. So the woman who played what was her name? Was it Princess Rhaenyra? Or is it Rhaenyra or Rhaenyra? The main princess of House of the Dragon, who ends up fucking her uncle Matt Smith. That's Emma D'Arcy, okay? And Emma D'Arcy identifies as non-binary, okay? And in fact, Emma D'Arcy has said, it's just so easy and natural for me to play women characters despite not being a woman. I'm non-binary. And it's like, well, hold on. You're still, like, biologically female here. But I guess being non-binary, she made it onto the Men of the Year list. Oh. Does that... Wait, hold on. Men of the Year. Marissa Abela. Sheila Atom. Emma D'Arcy. Sharon Horgan. How many women are on this fucking list? What? Hold on. Is this... Yeah, see, I also thought that being non-binary meant you weren't a man. You were non-binary. You were not a man or a woman. So why are you... Oh, okay. Let's see. What? How are you two men? What is masculine about you? What? Yeah, Goddess Valkyrie, listen, they should give them Woman of the Year as well. Okay, imagine Emma D'Arcy wins like both Man and Woman of the Year in the same year. What? Oh my god. Man of the Year. I mean, maybe with that fucking hairline. What? Man of the Year. Man of the Year. Like, at least some of these guys are men. Okay, here's the thing, all right? If you had, like, a Buck Angel looking person on this list, someone who's, like, hyper masculine but is still biologically female, I would actually accept that on Man of the Year. Like, you guys all know what Buck Angel looks like, right? Hold on. Buck Angel, Let's get a non-pornographic image of Buck Angel. Non-pornographic image. Here we go. Okay? All right. Here. Buck Angel. This person was born biologically female, transitioned to be a man, and has been living a masculine life for like 30 years or something, okay? This person's hyper-masculine. If this person was on a Man of the Year list, I would actually accept it. Because look at how much work Buck Angel has put into being a man, all right? I think he's earned it. I think we can give him like the honorary male status, okay? But these fucking people, being a man is not putting on like a blazer, all right? What is masculine about either of these chicks? Like, what? There's nothing. Like, the reason that I respect, like, Buck Angel and Blair White and Lilith and Taftach is because even as they necessarily transcend the categories of man and woman, they are still desperately trying to fit into one of them. And so I will meet them halfway, and I will respect them. All right? They're not blowing smoke up my ass. You know, they work very hard to appear as the other sex. And I can respect that work. It takes a lot of work to do that, so I'll respect it. How much work do you think these people have done to be men? How much work? Like, if virtue is in the actions that you take, you know, virtue ethics, we're going to go Sargon today. If virtue is in the actions that you take, what actions have these people taken to be men? To deserve being on the Man of the Year list? What actions have they taken? I can show you the actions Buck Angel has taken. 30 years of testosterone and weightlifting and a giant fucking beard and like a chiseled masculine face. What actions have these people taken? None. None. And that is why I don't respect them. And that's why I don't respect their identity. All right? That's why I don't respect their identity. Okay? Like here. I do think there are some non-binary women out there. All right? There's one person I know named Anna. All right? And this person is actually like very androgynous in how they present and how they speak and how they appear, the way they carry themselves, their clothes. You know, when they dress up like a guy, they actually look like a femboy. And when they dress up like a girl, they look like a tomboy. Okay, and Anna calls herself non-binary. It's like, okay, fair enough. Like, you're doing some work there. I'll respect it, okay? But then at the same time, you get these non-binary chicks who are like, they have the fattest fucking ass and the widest hips, big fat fucking thighs, hourglass figure, huge fucking titties. They're lying on their back screaming for you to cream pie them. Like, they're like the most fucking, like, breeding kinks. They're the most hyper fucking feminine women. And they're like, excuse me, I'm not a woman. I'm a she, they, non-binary. And it's like, no, you're fucking not. What? Do you have any masculine traits at all? You have no masculine traits. You are not non-binary. No. You are not. So, for me, you know, even the non-binary identity can be valid, but you must work for it. And none of these fucking people have worked for a single goddamn thing in their lives. So no, I don't agree. Just call yourself androgynous. The phrase non-binary is absurd. Oh yeah, like, see, here's the thing. I come from a generation where it was just called androgynous. You were just an androgynous person, you know? Like David Bowie was androgynous, right? But now they call them non-binary. The issue, ultimately, is that being androgynous is not the same thing as being trans. However, they're trying to claim non-binary as being trans, which is why you get, like, more tomboy-like people, and they're like, Listen, you're not a tomboy, you're not androgynous, you're non-binary, which means that you're trans, which means that we can now claim you politically as part of the LGBTQ plus agenda. And it's like, no, fuck off. Fuck off with that, all right? Leave people alone. Fucking, not everything needs to be like a political fucking crusade. Jesus. Yeah, so like most people who claim to be trans on Twitter aren't actually trans. Most people who claim to be non-binary online aren't actually non-binary. There are real trans people, there are real non-binary people, but most of the time it is just social contagion and copium. That being said, the ones that are real, I think it's the polite thing to respect them. They are just not as common as the left would make you think that they are. What's the final? Oh God, the final one. PhD student publishes research paper telling how he masturbated for 3 months over extreme Japanese comics featuring young boys. Okay. A PhD student has published a research paper in which he details how he masturbated for 3 months to extreme Japanese comics featuring young boys. Carl Anderson is researching subcultural Japanese comics at the University of Manchester, but is now being investigated after publishing a paper in which he began masturbating after hitting a wall in his studies. So the student claims to have embarked on a 3-month stint of masturbating to the same subject matter as his research participants and make notes on each session, shunning regular pornography and sex. He said, "I happened to live alone during this experiment, and I had newly become single after a long relationship. These factors probably contributed to my willingness and eagerness to explore this method. However, Carl's own thesis describes the material, known as shota, as a genre of self-published erotic comics that feature young boy characters in a cute or most often sexually explicit way. After publishing his 4,000-word paper in April, the piece has been subsequently been discovered by horrified social media users and shared on Mumsnet. Wow. And there's the fella. There he is. Outraged mothers questioned how the visual anthropologist's sickening material had gotten past the university's ethics process and even been funded by the university. One excerpt notes how he felt while masturbating to a comic which depicted a boy and his friend masturbating together. However, Carl's study even thanks his PhD supervisor, Dr. Sharon Kinsella, who herself specializes in Lolita complex subcultures at the university, for always encouraging him to go where his research takes him. Some parents were unable to even finish the study's introduction and describe the contents unspeakably grim as it documents pleasuring himself in great detail while discussing pubescent boys in the period of puberty. You know, despite all of the rightoids in the chat, I keep looking up there and I keep seeing people say, based. Shota is a good tag. All right? Listen, I guarantee you, the right is completely fine with the femboys. Do not fucking deny it. The University of Manchester said they had significant complaints that they were taking very seriously and confirmed they were conducting a detailed investigation into the individual's work. Visual anthropologist Carl claims that after conducting interviews and carrying out surveys, his research hit a wall, and he decided to copy his participants by only masturbating to Shota comics and noting down his thoughts and feelings. He said he did this for 3 months and also had a ban on any other type of porn, sex, or any other sexual relief. Carl has published the academic article thesis titled, "I Am Not Alone, We Are All Alone," using masturbation as an ethnographic method in research on Shota subculture in Japan. Look at this fucking dude. Look at this fucking dude. Look at this fucking dude. Jesus Christ. I therefore started reading the comics in the same way as my research participants had told me that they did it, while masturbating. In this research note, I will recount how I set up an experimental method of masturbating to Shota comics, and how this participant observation of my own desire not only gave me a more embodied understanding of the topic for my research, but also made me think about loneliness and ways to combat it as driving forces of the culture of self-published erotic comics. For a period of 3 months, I would masturbate only to Shota comics. For this purpose, I would use doujinshi and commercial volumes that I have bought or been given during fieldwork in Japan. In short, I would masturbate in the same way my research participants did it. After each masturbation session, I would write down my thoughts and feelings, a kind of critical self-reflection, in a notebook, as well as details about which material I had used, where I had done it, at what time, and for how long. I would not be allowed to have any other sexual relief during this fieldwork in my own sexuality. No regular porn, no sex with somebody else, no fantasies or memories. It had to be Shota every time. I happened to live alone during the experiment, and I had newly become single after a long relationship. Carl argues that his research gave him not only a more embodied understanding of the topic for my research, but had also made me think about loneliness and ways to combat it as the driving forces of culture of self-published erotic comics. Oh my god. So, of course, a bunch of commenters, his PhD is based on wanking and is hugely disturbing. This is pushing my limits of commitment to academic freedom. How do we permanently cancel these kinds of people? How do we eliminate them from universities and screen them from ever entering again? Obviously, many universities have failed to uphold the requirements for serious scholarships. What action can we take? How did this get past Manchester University's ethics process? Masturbating to images of children and writing it for public consumption does not seem ethical to me. To be fair, it's Shota. It's not like pictures of kids. It's like drawings of kids, right? I literally can't think of anything to say beyond registering my outrage. Is there any way to challenge the funding for this? Is there a professor of wanking studies yet? If not, I would apply, but I'm probably overqualified. So, Carl's website states that he has a background in journalism and publishing, an MA in visual and media anthropology, and a BA in linguistics. He is particularly fascinated by ideals and how we relate to them, as can be seen in the title of his master's thesis. This is a different thesis. Unreal Boys. An experience-led exploration of desire towards fictional characters among fans of Shotokan manga in Japan. So this is not this guy's first Shota thesis. He did a master's Shota thesis, and now he's doing a PhD Shota thesis. Okay. His Twitter account boasts that he is a student and funded by the School of Arts, Languages, and Cultures at the University of Manchester. My God, guys. The guy legit got paid to fap to Boku no Pico. Fucking hell. When he was surveying and interviewing participants about their relation to Shota comics, what kind of Shota they like, how they see themselves in relation to the story, how they engage with Shota concretely, what Shota gives them, and so on, he realized that almost all of them said that they'd masturbated to it. He said when they tried to question participants about it, the conversation would stall and he'd eventually hit a wall. I tried to inquire about the details of these masturbation sessions, but it was hard to know what to ask, and the conversation stalled. In addition, it would have been impossible for me to grasp how the intellectual reasoning, for example, of entering an alternative past was connected to the bodily sensation of masturbation without me doing it myself. Carl has made a film on this subject, named Unreal Boys, that explores the controversial phenomenon that blurs the borders of actual and virtual realities, and claims that the filmmaker participates actively in Shota subculture. This film is an award-winning film in visual anthropology. My God! What the fuck? What the fuck? So yeah, no one's talking about it. The school has said that they're going to look into it, but all the people mentioned in this fucking Carl Anderson has not responded. The PhD supervisor Sharon Kinsella has not responded. Now, wait, Sharon Kinsella. That's a name that I remember. Who was Sharon? I think I've seen Sharon Kinsella before. Who the fuck is Sharon Kinsella? What is that name? Is this someone that we know? Have they had like a different thing go on with them? Hold on. Here's this person. Sharon Kinsella. Japanese Studies, Modern Languages and Cultures. I think this person has been involved in some other kind of like online happening. Because the name is familiar and the face is kind of familiar. I think this person's been involved in something else online. And that's a dude. God. Trans physiognomy. I gotta like bookmark this and come back to it because I think there's been some other kind of like weird pedophilic something that happened a year or two ago that involved her, because this name is so familiar to me. I think I did a story on them at some point in the past. I gotta look it up. There's gotta be something going on here. Oh, but yeah, all of her stuff is Japanese studies, all right? Her first book in 2000, Adult Manga, is all about adult manga, the politics of porn. You've got like Schoolgirls, Money and Rebellion, where she's talking about schoolgirls being prostitutes in Japan. She seems to be all about this fucking weird stuff. Oh, she did Otakonoko stuff. I wonder if she's part of like the push to transwash the Otakonokos. She's a true weeb. Okay. That's it, guys. That's all the articles I have for you today. That's the end of the articles. If you want to mail me any of your stuff, there is the address on the screen. Send me your box of junk. I will open it on stream. That's the P.O. box for the channel. Join the $5 club. Get yourself into the $5 club. Costs $5 a month through Twitch or YouTube or Subscribestar or Patreon. $5 recurring, the bot will put you in there automatically. Additionally, my friends, there is also you can also use your Amazon Prime free sub if you like over at the Twitch channel. Let's read the final few supers, guys. Thank you for all the support today. You have been amazing. You guys are the top tier, best fans on the internet. I love you guys. Let's see. Okay. $5. Speaking of Silent Hill 2, if the Callisto Protocol greatly outsells the Dead Space remake, it will have mega impact on these needless cash-in remakes. Agreed, but I don't think the Callisto Protocol is going anywhere. Seriously, I don't think it's going anywhere. Oh yeah, Mr. Brown, like that is like the thing that's going on here, right? Like all the Shota comics, they're weird, but it's just drawings, okay? It's weird shit, but you should be able to do it. It's just drawings. Like you want to be like a Shotacon, but you're not actually like doing anything with kids. You're just looking at anime. Fine. Weird, but shouldn't be illegal. It's just free expression. Like but fuck is it strange. It's fucking strange. Wait, Tidge, you leaving for Sitch and Adam? You fuck. Boo. I may or may not be in the Sitch and Adam chat tonight. Depends on what they're doing. I love those guys though. Joseph Art Sater for $10. Daisuke is full of it. Trans characters existed in Japan media way before Bridget. This was for the Chinese prophets because of the feminine men ban, and Strive silently moved Taiwan to the game. I don't think so. I actually disagree with you there, because the Chinese feminine men ban also bans trans women because the Chinese don't recognize the difference. So I don't think this is a way of getting around it. Shaker Silver, $2. Thank you for the $10 though. Shaker Silver, $2. Trans characters couldn't exist? Explain Poison, you liar. Well, actually, Poison was always a woman. Poison was made trans in the translation, right? They just said that she was trans because it was apparently more acceptable in the West to beat up trannies than beat up women. So that was a translation thing. Irish H, $5. I just want to share that there's a video game called Sex with Hitler 3D that is trending on Steam. Mostly positive reviews. Gamers won't change. Based. Femboy Hitler, guys. It's like Sargon said on the Archcast yesterday. All of the modern Nazis, like Nick Fuentes, like they're clearly gay men. What is it about fascism, like modern post-fascism and gay men? What the fuck? $2 from Lord Tennyson's pipe. Dev, stop being disgusting, please. Listen, Lord Tennyson. You need to appreciate the bussy, okay? Listen, all right? You have to understand. All right? Women will treat your dick like it's a chore. Like, oh, I gotta suck that thing again. Oh, fuck, all right? Traps, they will throat your dick right down to the fucking root and come while doing it, okay? There is no comparison, sir. There's no comparison. Let me refresh once more to see. Nope, that's the end of the super chats. Thank you, my friends. Oh, yeah, I'll talk to you after the stream, Goddess Valkyrie. We'll set that thing up. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you for all the donations. Thank you for all the views. You guys are, as always, the best. Now that I'm well again, okay? Now that I'm well again, Tidge, you are going to prove to me that you can, in fact, throat down to the root next time I go to the UK. Okay, listen. Now that I'm actually well again, and I'm not sick, I'm feeling pretty good. Videos come back, starting with an Indefensible on the Bayonetta 3 controversy, and then I'll move on to a few other topics this week. Lilith got a new job IRL, so we're going to shuffle around what the Tubcast is all about. We'll probably do things on different days or different whatevers. And I'm still going to be doing the gaming streams in the evening. Okay? I'm still going to be doing the gaming streams in the evening. Probably starting up again tomorrow, you know? Maybe Naomi and I will play some Inscription. I don't know. We'll see what we're doing. Okay? What else should I announce? Oh yeah, so speaking of the gaming streams, right? Inscription is still on the table. I want to finish that game up. We're also going to continue playing A Plague Tale Requiem and Bayonetta 3. Those playthroughs are still ongoing. The new Sonic game, Sonic Frontier, comes out on Tuesday. We'll be playing that. So I really want to play Sonic Frontier. Fuck, we're probably gonna continue playing Saints Row because Saints Row is always a shit show. It's always fun to see how ridiculous that fucking game is. What else? There's one more thing I wanted to say. I can't remember what it is. Oh, I have a few guests on the channel coming down the pipes. You'll see them in the next week or two. Okay? And that might be a fun time. Hopefully that everyone will enjoy the guests that I have planned. I don't want to announce anyone just yet, at least because I don't know when things are scheduled, but we're going to have more guests. More guests on the dev live streams, friends. Anyway, I'm going to go. If any of you are cis women, trans women, or traps, you are legally obligated to send me nudes. DMs are open. I can't wait to be canceled for that remark in like 5 years. I don't give a fuck, though. Okay, I'm getting out of here. I got shit to do. Thank you for being here. I know it's been like a 3.5 hour Tubcast, Jesus Christ, weekly sip. Holy fuck, it's been a long time. But you know what? I enjoyed it. And hopefully you enjoyed it too. See you next time, guys. I love you.